The task ahead is immense. We are engaging the world diplomatically, and we assure all of you that we will, defeat terrorism in this country.
All right. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to a Nigerian Perspective live stream. And what you just had is the 21-second response from the Nigerian president to everything Trump and the Trump administration and the Republican Party and many people in the United States and in the world in general have been saying about what is happening in his country under his watch. Yeah, that 21 seconds response is what he has to say to the rest of the world. And we'll be talking about that and a lot of other things, okay? We'll look at the clip again and we'll look at other things and we'll have a fantastic live stream. But before we get into all of that, please smash that like button. Subscribe if you're not yet subscribed. Share the link to all your friends and family. You owe it to them as a civic duty, okay? If you are not doing that, you are wrong. You're doing something disastrous, okay? You are committing jihad by not sharing that like button, okay? Go out there and share it. Also, smash the like button that is in the live chat or the reaction button that is in the live chat. Let us see love. Let us see smiley face. Let us see, every reaction that is in the live chat. Let us see all of them float up. And also, please leave a comment. Leave a comment in the live chat, okay? People in the chat, I want to see the comments constantly. It reminds me that I'm talking to actual human beings. Sometimes someone might forget. Am I really talking to people? But when I see your live chat, I'm reminded, yeah, I am. So please do all of that. And we'll have a very fantastic live stream. We'll talk about Nigeria. I know I've been talking about Nigeria for like the whole of this week. You guys are wondering, when are you going to talk about something else? I suspect it. Maybe some of you are like, nah, he's talking about Nigeria. Let's talk about this. Let him talk about his country. But don't worry. From next week, we'll talk about other things as well as talk about Nigeria, because this is a very pressing issue. And we are hoping that we can raise enough awareness about this that will lead to significant change. Okay. And so, yeah, that is the goal. So hopefully God will use our voice, use every one of us here to effect real change in this aspect with regards to what is happening in this country. All right. So Nigeria, my great country. Like I said earlier, yes, that 21 minutes video that we just watched at the beginning was all the response, according to what I saw. Now, I don't know if there is more to that, but there is more to that, actually, because he actually released a statement on Twitter. Obviously, President Tinubu is not on Truth Social, so he has to use Twitter, like every other president. Donald Trump is exceptional. Only he gets to announce what he wants to do on Truth Social. And so this is the response from our great president. As you can see, so the person who posted it, engineer Shaibu, said, Tinubu uploaded a 21-second video a 21 seconds video response to Trump. 21 seconds. This man has been the most unserious person to ever be president. Well, that is what it is. Let's listen to it again.
So the task ahead is immense. We are engaging the world diplomatically, And we assure all of you that we will, defeat terrorism in this country.
Think about that. In the space of 21 seconds, his clip, his message, his statement was interrupted twice with huge rounds of applause. That's to tell you what you have in the Nigerian government. In the Nigerian government, you have incompetence meets psychophancy. You have incompetence meets psychophancy. You have an incompetent leader who is doing virtually next to nothing about an issue. And then you have people around him who are clapping for him, who are cheering him on, who are telling him that he's doing the best job out there. That is what we have in this country. 21 seconds responding to the pressing issue that the whole world is paying attention to. And that is punctuated by 2 huge rounds of applause. That is what we are dealing with here. And of course, everything he said is just not true, of course. So maybe that is why it is even pointless. But there is more he had to say beyond just this. Okay, here is a tweet from him to accompany the video, or after the video, his account also posted this tweet, which we'll be looking at shortly once it's loaded. Okay, so this is from Bola Ahmed Tinubu. We face challenges head on and remain steadfast in our commitment to engage partners and champion Nigeria's interests on the diplomatic front. We are confidently asserting our presence on the global stage, guided by unwavering calm, clarity, and a strong sense of purpose. We are indeed faced with terrorism, a challenge Nigeria has faced for almost 2 decades, and we will not back down. We will decisively defeat terrorism and claim victory in this battle. Security is non-negotiable, and we will never compromise on this principle. With unwavering courage and a steadfast commitment to the rule of law, we will prevail. Nigeria is one united family. We rise together, move forward together, and reject despair in favor of determination. Our future is far more robust and stronger than any fears we may have. The task ahead is immense, yet our resolve is even greater. We will continue to sustain and build our reform gains and deliver a prosperous and inclusive Nigeria. We will spare no effort and leave no stone unturned in our mission to eliminate criminals from our society. We urge our allies to stand firmly with us as we amplify our fight against terrorism. We have made significant progress in the past 2 years, and we will decisively eliminate this threat. With courage and the rule of law, we will triumph. Nigeria will be and remain a reliable partner and dependable ally to its friends and a steady voice for stability. We also welcome the collaboration and the support of our allies, friends, and partners as we strengthen both security and economic growth. To the brave men and women of our armed forces and the intelligence community units by purpose, regardless of tribe or religion, we serve fearlessly, fight side by side, and sometimes pay the ultimate price. Who serve fearlessly, fight side by side, and sometimes pay the ultimate price. We express our deepest gratitude. Your commitment is our strength, and in the fight against terror. Bola Ahmed Tinubu, President, Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces, Federal Republic of Nigeria. So yeah, this is from him, and this is from today, as you can see, or from yesterday actually. As you can see, this is his statement. And you can see that this is a bunch of nothing, just platitudes that mean actually nothing. It has no meaning. I mean, just look at the first paragraph. We challenge head-on and remain steadfast in our commitment to engage partners and champion Nigeria's interests on the diplomatic front. We are confidently asserting our presence on the global stage, guided by unwavering calm, clarity, and a strong sense of purpose. I mean, one would think that ChatGPT wrote this, because this is just a bunch of nothing. One paragraph saying nothing. Donald Trump, in one long sentence, in his second tweet, said a lot more than everything Tinubu is saying in this entire tweet. We are indeed faced with terrorism. Oh, finally, he admits that he has never denied that. But that is what they are calling it now, terrorism. Not genocide against Christians. Not coordinated religious violence. It's terrorism. You know, maybe some people don't understand what terrorism is. Terrorism is not just engaging in criminal activities. The mere fact that someone engages in criminal activity does not make that person a terrorist. let me make people understand this. I'm very sure many Nigerians have never even bothered to ask themselves what exactly is terrorism. Okay. This is what terrorism is: an unlawful use of violence and intimidation, especially against civilians, in the pursuit of political aims. So when you have a political aim, you have something you want to achieve politically in a country or in a region, and the way you pursue that political aim is through the use of violence and intimidation against innocent civilians, then you are committing an act of terror. So when Bola Ahmed Tinubu says there is terrorism in this country, what is the ideology behind that terrorism? What is the political pursuit of those engaging in that act of terror? I guess that's something that people who wrote this speech for him or his Twitter handlers did not consider. Because if this is terrorism, then you need to explain to us what is the political pursuit or the ideology behind those who are committing these acts of terror. Because when you understand it, it will no longer be terrorism, it will be called Islamic terrorism, because that is what this is. That is the political agenda of those carrying out these acts of terror. Nigeria is one united family. We rise together, move forward together, and reject despair in favor of determination. Our future is far more robust and stronger than any fear we may face. Another meaningless platitude. What does this exactly mean? Nigeria is one united family. Since when? Since when did Nigeria become one united family? Sorry. He said, we rise together, move forward together. Do we really rise together in this country? The political class in this country does not rise at the same rate and in the same pace and with the same magnitude as the average Nigerian. We are split in this country. There is actual division in this country. There is no, except this is a declaration of faith, calling things that be not as though they were. Probably that's what he's engaging in here. But the reality on the ground is that this country is not united and has never been so. And then he said, we spare no effort and leave no stone unturned in our mission to eliminate criminals from our society. We urge our allies to stand firmly with us as we amplify our fight against terrorism. We have made significant progress in the past 2 years, and we will decisively eliminate this threat. What progress have you made in the past 2 years? And what do you mean by amplifying your fight against terrorism? You see, this is just political jargon, nonsense. This doesn't mean anything. This is just well-crafted sentences that bear no meaning, that have no effect with the reality of what is happening in this country. That is what all of this is. And that is the statement from the president. And then this last part, to the brave women and men of our armed forces and intelligence community, united by purpose, regardless of tribe or religion, who serve fearlessly, fight side by side, and sometimes pay the ultimate price. We express our deepest gratitude. Your commitment to our strength is Your commitment is our strength in the fight against terror. Many of the brave men and women, he will not tell you that many of them have said to the press that they are often not well equipped, and that sometimes they don't even have uniforms. Yes, the Nigerian army sometimes don't even have enough uniforms. They don't have enough ammunition. They don't have enough. And then there is also the complaint of having to work with repentant Boko Haram fighters. Having to work with repentant Boko Haram fighters who often undermine their effort in the fight against terrorism in the north. But he will not mention that, of course, because this is his attempt to lie to the international community. But if there's anything that I find consoling in all of this, is that the international community is not buying this lie, especially the United States. The United States is not buying this lie. And any person who is reasonable enough to consider everything that is happening in Nigeria, and look at all the reports coming out of Nigeria, and look at everything on social media coming out of Nigeria, they will come to the conclusion that the government is obviously lying. Before I move forward, I think I should have done this, but I did not. I want to recognize James Jordan. Thank you for your $20 super sticker. Thank you for letting me know that I'm amazing. Thank you so much. And this is also an opportunity to remind you guys, you can always support the channel. We 100% on this channel need your support. Whether it comes by virtue of super chats, send all of them. Like I say, put your money where my mouth is. That's exactly where your money is supposed to be. And you can do that by sending super chats. You can do that by liking, subscribing, sharing the link. That is a very huge support. And you can go the extra mile by sending super chats. Send a bunch of them, a lot of them. It helps to keep the lights on. And you can also go to, buymeacoffee.com/NIG perspective. That is over here. It's over here actually. So you go to this link, buymeacoffee.com/NIG perspective. You go there and you send your contribution. You buy me coffees. And when you do that, a message will pop up here, and hopefully I'll be quick enough to read them. And I really admire and appreciate all of you that actually go out of your way to support this channel. I mean, I cannot thank you guys enough. Thank you so much. And please continue to do that even as we are live. I want to see more of that, okay? James Jordan has opened the floor, and I hope that more will come, okay? I am looking forward to more coming. Please let more come. Thank you, and God continue to bless you. All right, moving on. Let me just take some of the comments that I see in the chat, and hopefully the next time I'll be taking comments from the chat, it will be super chats. Amen. This is from Kev Shan. He said, I truly wish all Nigerians will find peace and unity and build a nation together. That is a very powerful wish. If wishes were horses, Nigeria would be a great nation. Then this is from Luca Palazzi. He said he's Muslim, right? I guess you're asking about the president of the country. Yes, he's a Muslim. He said he's Muslim, right? Why would he care then? That's what his religion commands after all. True, but I don't think Buhari's nonchalance is coming from the fact that he's a Muslim. As a Muslim, Tinubu is not a serious Muslim. Okay, he's not. There's this video of him trying to say Surah Al-Fatiha, and he didn't even know how to say it very well. Tinubu is what we call in Nigeria a political Muslim. Okay, he's a Muslim for political reasons, because he knows that in this country, by virtue of being a Muslim, you get to secure the vote of certain demographics. So that is why he's a Muslim. In fact, that is why he chose a Muslim vice president. If he had chosen a Christian vice president, the North would have seen it as Christian. You will have seen it that the country is being run by a Christian, because they know that he is not a true Muslim, or at least they don't recognize him as such. So that is that what he's doing is just because he's doing this simply because he's nonchalant, he's incompetent, he's unwilling to deal with the problem. That is why. And his administration is surrounded by fanatical Muslims that would not allow him do so. His vice president, Shetima, is someone who has been accused in this country of being the founder of Boko Haram, of being a patron of Boko Haram. One time, it was reported that a Boko Haram member, a prominent Boko Haram member that was arrested, broke out of prison, and they were looking for this Boko Haram member, and he was found in the house of Shetima, who is now the current vice president of Nigeria. Shetima was the former governor of Borno State, and Borno State is the home of Boko Haram. That is where Boko Haram came out from. Borno State in Nigeria is where Boko Haram came out from, and he was governor when Boko Haram became a thing in Borno State. So when you see a president that is surrounded with this kind of persons and have an administration that is infiltrated by this kind of people with this kind of thought process, the likelihood of seeing him having the political will to do something about insecurity in the country is highly unlikely. He doesn't want to fix the problem because he's surrounded by people who don't even consider what you consider a problem as a problem. So there is that. Anyway, moving on. The African Union that has been quiet when Christians were being slaughtered in Nigeria, when Boko Haram became a thing, the African Union has never released a statement with regards to everything that has been happening to Nigeria or happening in Nigeria until recently, when there was NSAS protests in 2020, where the Nigerian government opened fire and killed innocent protesters at the Lekki toll gate that became known in Nigeria as the Lekki toll gate massacre, carried out by the government on peaceful protesters. When that happened, even the UK condemned the Nigerian government. The UK government could not keep quiet. They condemned the Nigerian government. Many world leaders came out and condemned the Nigerian government for the Lekki toll gate massacre. But the African Union did not. ECOWAS did not. But under this recent news wave and people calling out the Nigerian government for their incompetency, for their complicity, for their facilitation of Islamic terrorism in the country that has led to the genocide of Christians, when these have become what is being spoken about in the international stage, thanks to President Trump and senators and lawmakers in the United States, the African Union have decided to issue a statement. Finally, they are awake. Now they realize that there is a country called Nigeria and there is a need to make a statement. And here is their powerful statement, I guess. I guess when Donald Trump sees this statement, he's going to say, okay, yes, it's true. Nigeria is a perfect country. There's no problem in this country and we can just move on and, sing Kumbaya and happy ever after for Nigeria because there is no problem, nothing to see here. So this is what the African Union said. As you can see, this is their official Twitter account. And they said the African Union Commission reaffirms commitment to Nigeria's sovereignty, religious freedom, and rule of law. The African Union Commission, AUC, reiterates its unwavering commitment to the principles of sovereignty, non-interference, religious freedom, and the rule of law as enshrined in the African Union Constitutive Act and related instruments. I am happy to see that the African Union finally recognizes Nigeria's sovereignty. It didn't recognize Nigerian sovereignty when we were under attack by Boko Haram and when Boko Haram was assaulting our sovereignty. It didn't recognize that when Boko Haram was constantly with various multiple attacks trying to undermine the sovereignty of Nigeria, when Fulani headsmen and Fulani bandits and terrorists and militias and ISWAP and Ansaru and the rest of them and over 22 embryonic terrorist groups in this country, we are constantly waging assaults against the sovereignty of this country. The AU did not release any statement showing commitment to the sovereignty of Nigeria. No, because of course, when Boko Haram attacked, they are not undermining the sovereignty of this country, right? Right, African Union. It is when the United States wants to do something about it, then suddenly they are undermining the sovereignty of Nigeria. And now the African Union wants to say something. The Commission notes with concern recent statement by the United States of America alleging that the government of Nigeria is complicit in the targeted killing of Christians and threatening military action. The AUC emphasizes the following. Number one, the Federal Republic of Nigeria is a long-standing and valued member state of the African Union, playing a key role in regional stability, counter-terrorism, peacekeeping initiatives, and continental integration. Powerful. The African Union Commission, or committee, whatever that C stands for, fully respects Nigeria's sovereign right to manage its internal affairs. Does that apply when the African Union is going on peacekeeping mission in countries where they were not invited? Selah. The AUC fully respects Nigeria's sovereign rights to manage its internal affairs, including security, religious freedom, human rights, in line with its constitution and international obligation. Any external engagement must respect Nigeria's sovereignty, territorial integrity, and unity. Good to know. The Commission supports Nigeria's repeated affirmation that its constitution guarantees freedom of religion and belief, and that the government rejects all form of religious persecution. Yeah, what does that even mean? What does any of this even mean? This third affirmation, I guess. What does it mean? What does it mean that the Commission supports Nigeria's repeated affirmation that its constitution guarantees freedom of religion and belief, and that the government rejects all forms of religious persecution? You are affirming something based on what? What if it is not true? You are not even giving reasons why you are affirming it. You're just saying we affirm it. Is it true? Is it true that the Nigerian constitution guarantees freedom of religion? I did not say makes a provision for freedom of religion. Yes, the Nigerian constitution can make a provision for religious freedom, so to speak. But with how it is being implemented in this country, it can indeed not guarantee religious freedom. But the African Union is not interested in any of that. It's just to release meaningless political statements at the end of the day. That is what all of this is, meaningless political statement. So let's wrap up these meaningless political statements and move to something meaningful. Number 4, Nigeria faces complex security challenges affecting citizens of all faiths, including violent extremist groups, banditry, communal violence, and resource-based conflict. The AUC calls for regional and international cooperation to support Nigeria and other African countries in strengthening capacity to respond to insecurity, protect all citizens, uphold human rights, and bring perpetrators of violence to justice. So the AU is calling for all regional and international cooperation to support Nigeria and other African countries in doing a lot of things and also bringing perpetrators of violence to justice. But is the African Union aware that when Boko Haram fighters are arrested, when they claim that they have repented, they are often rehabilitated and reintegrated back into society? Some of them get to work with the Nigerian army. Is the African Union aware of this? And is this what they consider as bringing perpetrators of violence to justice? Is that the justice for a terrorist in Nigeria attacks a community, kills the women, rape the children, even girls as young as 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, even pregnant women, even elderly women, they rape them. A pregnant woman, they split the woman open, bring out the child and kill the child. They carry out these heinous acts and then they are arrested by the Nigerian army. And then they are rehabilitated and reintegrated back into society. Is that the kind of justice that the African Union Commission is in support of? Are they aware that this is going on in Nigeria? And when they say they affirm whatever it is that they affirm, is this part of it? The African Union Commission rejects any narrative that weaponizes religion or oversimplifies security challenges, conflating all violence with a single religious target narrative may hinder effective solution and destabilize communities. No, AUC. What that will do, rejecting the fact that this is a religious conflict and that the primary target of this religious conflict are non-Muslims, it shows a determination not to deal with the problem. As long as any government in this country or in the world is unwilling to state a problem or call it what it is, when you're unwilling to call a problem what it is, you're unwilling to deal with it and you're unwilling to bring solution. The first step to dealing with a problem is recognizing exactly what that problem is. During Buhari's second tenure, when Donald Trump designated Nigeria a country of particular concern, one of the things that Buhari's government did was to agree with the United States. They did not argue with them. They agreed. They said yes. In fact, this is what they said, even though I don't agree with it. But this is what they said. They said in the past, Boko Haram was killing indiscriminately, and these bandits and terrorists were killing indiscriminately. But recently, they have adopted a new policy, a policy of targeting Christians so that they can plunge the country, Nigeria, into a religious war. That is what the Nigerian government said, in agreement with the U.S. designation and how the U.S. characterized what is happening in Nigeria. Because even they recognize that if the United States and Nigeria want to move forward in dealing with the problem of insecurity in Nigeria, they have to, at the very least, agree in what they describe the problem as. In fact, Buhari went as far as calling on the United States to intervene militarily in Nigeria. They called, actually, if people may not know this, but Buhari called on the Nigerian government to intervene on the United States government, rather, to intervene in Nigeria militarily. What else did these people have to say? What else did the African Union Commission have to say? Okay, 6. AUC urges external partners, including the United States, to engage Nigeria through diplomatic dialogue, intelligence sharing, and capacity building partnership while respecting Nigeria's sovereignty rather than resorting to unilateral threats of military intervention, which could undermine continental peace, regional stability, and AU's norms for peaceful conflict management. The African Union Commission remains committed to supporting member states in promoting peace, security, human rights, and development while upholding sovereignty and non-interference. And one more thing that they did not mention in this press release is that the AUC is also toothless and have no weight whatsoever. Nobody considers the AUC. The AUC is injecting itself into this issue to kind of regain relevance that it has long lost. Okay, the AUC is irrelevant, and they know it. It is a known fact in Africa that the AUC is very, extremely irrelevant. The AUC cannot do anything about what is happening in Sudan. The AUC cannot do anything about ISIS in Mozambique. The AUC cannot do anything about the insecurity in the Sahel. The AUC cannot do anything about anything. Okay? They cannot stop. The AUC have done nothing to stop China's incursion into this country and into this continent. The AUC cannot do anything. Completely useless. A toothless bulldog. All back and no bite. In fact, even their backs are not even loud enough. It's like a chihuahua barking. And obviously, the rest of the world knows this. Obviously, Donald Trump knows this. And obviously, no one is paying attention to the AUC. Even in Nigeria, nobody is talking about what the AUC has said. In fact, I'm the one, due to extensive research, telling you what the AUC have said. Because no one in the country is even talking about it. Before we proceed, give me a second. Let me do one or two things. All right. I hope that was just a second. Okay, you can see that I'm brighter now. I decided to turn on a particular light. All right. The next person that has something to say about what is happening in the country is the Vice President himself. The Vice President of the country, Shetima, according to this headline, says bombs, bullets, no religion. Nobody has ever said that bombs, bullets, know a particular religion. You know, bombs and bullets don't have a religious affiliation. And nobody has ever made that claim in the history of claims that have ever been made by anybody. The claim we are making is that the people who are behind the bombs and the bullets have a religion and have religious persuasions. And that religious persuasion is what is inspiring them and motivating them and commanding them to fire the bombs and the bullets. I hope that is clear to Shetima. But let's see what he has to say. Vice President Kashim Shetima says Nigeria's security challenges require a united response, noting that violent attacks do not distinguish between religion, ethnicity, or social status. It does. This claim of this is one of the most meaningless statements that I've had from the government and their supporters with regard to this issue. This claim of violent attacks do not distinguish between religion, ethnicity, or social status. When these people we are talking about the genocide in Gaza, all of a sudden violent attacks violent attack could be meted out against Palestine. But now, when it has to do with Nigeria, violent attacks don't distinguish again between nationality, ethnicity, social status. It doesn't. Okay? You know, it's funny that he even mentions social status. As if the violent attacks, you know, the primary recipient or a common recipient of violent attacks are those higher ups in the Nigerian political strata. You know, those in Aso Rock, those in the Aso Rock Villa, those in state houses. They are the ones that are often. It's common to see a governor being a recipient, being a victim of violent attacks from religious fanatics, of course, because violence does not know any social status. Again, this is a big lie, a bold lie, and he knows it. You know, and he will continue to say it, and people like him will continue to repeat it over and over again. Meaningless rhetoric. Shetima maintains that when a weapon is used by those threatening the nation's peace, it does not differentiate between individuals and farmers and other civilians. Big lie. He explained that the present administration met significant security problem on assumption of office, which has forced it to adopt a coordinated approach focused not only on addressing current threats, but also on ensuring long-term peace and stability. Okay, what he does not mention is that the current administration belongs to the same political party as the past administration. And many of the people in the current administration, we are also in the past administration. Okay, it's like the Democrats saying that, oh, before it's just like, let's say, after Donald Trump, after Barack Obama, Hillary Clinton takes over, and then she's complaining that she inherited problems from Barack Obama. I mean, you were the Secretary of State when he was president. So what is this talk all about? That is the same thing with this administration claiming that they inherited this problem from the past administration. Well, you all belong to the same political party. We are all one and the same. In fact, one of the boasts of the president during the campaign was that he was the one who was single-handedly responsible for the past administration winning all their elections. So he was part and parcel of the past administration. In fact, in his campaign, he did not criticize the past administration. He said he was going to continue on the policies of the past administration. He was going to continue on the good things, the great things that the past administration had done for the country. And I guess this is that continuation. So to kind of try to blame the past administration, you guys don't have that privilege. Okay? Shetima was governor under the APC in the past administration, or some long time past administration. Shetima, represented by the Deputy Chief of Staff to the President, Ibrahim Hadijia, stated that at a high-level stakeholders meeting on regional development organized by the National Counter-Terrorism Center, Office of the National Security Advisor in Abuja on Thursday, he said every person or organization in the business of governance must play a role in this grand mission of national restoration. A bullet or a bomb knows neither ethnicity or religion. When it is fired by the enemies of our collective peace, it does not discriminate. You are a liar, sir. You are a very big, gigantic liar. It kills the farmer and the trader alike, and it destroys the very fabric of our multifaceted, multi-religious, and multi-ethnic society in a devastating and retrogressive manner. Then why has the response to this been divided? Why are more people crying than the other? Why are some trying to shut down those who are crying? If all of us are being affected by this in the same way, why are the responses different? The different responses shows that this is not felt by everyone the same. Our challenge, therefore, is not only to fight the forces behind this conflict, but also to dismantle the sentiments that are weaponized to divide us and weaken our resolve to fight back as a nation. Okay, you see, your challenge is not, you are not considering the challenge, or you are not even trying to deal with the challenge of fighting the forces behind this conflict, because there is rumor that you are part of the forces behind the conflict. But, rumors aside, there are other reasons why we can see from your actions as a government that you are not doing anything to fight the forces behind this conflict. One of the things that we see that shows to us that you are not doing anything to fight the forces behind this conflict is that you're not even willing to recognize the forces behind this conflict, both individual and ideological. When we see that unwillingness, we see a government that doesn't want to deal with the problem. But the only thing that I can grant you in this statement that is true is that you are trying to dismantle sentiments, aka facts, truths that are weaponized, according to you, to divide us and weaken our resolve to fight back as a nation. Nothing is dividing us and weakening the country's resolve to fight back as one nation, other than your administration, other than your military apparatus, other than your security agencies, other than your nonchalancy, other than your negligence, your complicity. That is the only thing that is weakening this nation, that is weakening this nation's resolve to fight this issue. It is not the truth that is weakening the nation or dividing us. It is your government and their inaction. Take some freaking responsibility for once. You people have been in office for almost 3 years. This is going to 3 years now. Enough with all the excuses. Beyond ideas and agenda, we must pay close attention to the power of messaging. Our messaging must be rooted in empathy and understanding, in propaganda. He noted that attacks by criminals harm everyone in society and further deepens division along ethnic and religious lines. Is that what we are calling them now? Just criminals. I thought they used to be your brothers and sisters, but okay. I thought to attack them is to attack the North. What changed? He urged leaders to counter narratives that fuel division and to ensure communication that is thoughtful, empathetic, and unifying. Interesting. The vice president also highlights the blah, blah, blah. Okay, I don't think it's important to just continue reading some of the things he has to say. But yeah, that is from the government, and that is to show you how serious they are in dealing with the problem. And then we have Sheikh Gumi, for those who are familiar with what we talk about on this channel, you know who Sheikh Gumi is. Sheikh Gumi is a renowned sheikh, okay, a renowned terrorist spokesperson for Nigeria. He's the one who speaks for the terrorists, who tells the Nigerian government what the terrorists want. He believes in dialoguing with the terrorists instead of fighting them, instead of dealing with them militarily and decisively with military action. He believes in dialogue. He believes in peace deals. He believes in placating and re-educating these terrorists. He believes in giving the terrorists what they want. He believes in giving the terrorists security employment, making them guards of the forest that they have taken over. Those are the things that he advocates for, and he's vehement and forceful in his advocacy. This is, we have people who advocate for human rights. We have people who advocate for climate change. Sheikh Gumi advocates for terrorism and terrorists. He's the advocate. He wants everyone to see the human side, the humanity of terrorists who carry out brutal attacks. Yeah, he wants us to see the other side of these people and to recognize their humanity so that we don't kill them. Instead, we give them what they want, or we placate them, or we help them. They need help. They don't need to be extinguished. They don't need to be fought. Justice is not supposed to be meted out against these criminals. No, they need to be understood according to Sheikh Gumi. And here he is telling us more about that.
You mentioned earlier that the bandits, the terrorists, needs convincing. And we all know the havoc they've created, in the society in Nigeria. They've raped women, they've killed lives, they've destroyed properties. So do the government really need to convince these terrorists at this point? Because we've seen the cases of repentant Boko Haram, we've seen the cases of dialogue. So is convincing what is needed from between the government and the terrorists right now?
Okay, sorry, please to cut you. You see, the former governor of Bauchi State, Yuguda, was able also to go with government delegation into the bush, and they met more than 5,000 bandits. They were all complaining. Those who have lost their parents, those who have lost their brethren, those from our hostility too. So when you say they have killed, yes, I know they have killed, and it's wrong to kill anybody innocent. This is absolutely an obnoxious thing to do.
So
we don't.
So just so we are listening to, just so we are understanding, just so we understand Sheikh Gumi, he's saying that the Bauchi State governor met with over 5,000 bandits, aka Islamic terrorists. He met with them, and instead of arresting them, instead of rounding them up, instead of carrying out attacks against them and extinguishing them from the face of the earth, instead of doing any of that, he decided to listen to them, and they told him how the fight against them have led to the death of their loved ones. It's so tragic when you hear stories of terrorists losing their loved ones. There's nothing as tragic as people who rape children, who rape women, who kill children, who kill men, women, and children of all, in large numbers, who burn villages, burn churches. They do all these brutal attacks. They carry out these brutal attacks. But, imagine the horror of that person who carry out this dangerous attack, losing their loved one, when the government launch counter-terrorism attacks. The government counter-terrorism attacks will make a bandit lose their loved one. These bandits get to lose their fellow fighters that they've built bond with. Imagine the horror of a criminal, of these criminals, of these terrorists. Imagine the horror of them losing their loved ones, losing their brethren in arm. Imagine that. These people are hot. They are going through a lot. And, it makes them more angry when they lose their fellow combatant who they form a strong bond with. And they are now relatives. They are now brothers in arm or in arms. I don't know how it is being said. So imagine the horror. According to Sheikh Gumi, we need to really take time to imagine the horror. It is unspeakable. It is unacceptable. Okay, yes, terrorists kill. But imagine what it's like to kill a fellow kingsman of these terrorists. Imagine what it's like to kill their brothers in arm. Imagine what it's like to kill their fellow terrorists in the name of counter-terrorism. This does not help, obviously, according to Sheikh Gumi.
You see, if you know their psychology, they are on a revenge mission. Everybody knows the herdsmen, especially the Fulani herdsmen. They don't just attack people. We have been living with them for centuries. They don't attack people without any cause. So what I think government needs to do is to...
As you can see, this is what it means to be a sympathizer and an apologist for terrorists. It's a shameless tax that Sheikh Gumi has embarked on, shamelessly, because he has no shame. His Quran and his religion has taught him to be this shameless. So he wants us to know that these terrorists, when we attack them and we kill their brethren, they go on a revenge mission. They want us to know that because the government is whenever the government try to do something to curb this act of terror by launching out counter-terrorism attacks, counter-terror attacks, whenever the government engage in such, it makes these terrorists angry and then they go on revenge mission. But generally they are peaceful. They are usually peaceful until recently. And even though he cannot give us a reason why they attack in the first place, why the first attack by any Fulani terrorists began, he cannot give us a good reason. Why they will go to a community in Benue State and burn it to the ground, kidnap those people, take over the community, rename the community. He cannot give us a good reason why they will do that. But, these people don't usually just attack like that, Something must have happened. Something must have, exploded within them. And that needs to be considered. Instead of, wiping them out and giving them a decisive military defeat, we need to consider some of these things. It is better,
Really bring them up together in a unison and in a holistic form so that there is peace. And they are ready for that, because if you call them for peace, they come. It's unlike the others, like IPOB. IPOB, the government has been trying to dialogue with them. They still refuse. They are still behind creating a separate state. They're secessionists. Besides being terrorists, they're secessionists. Well, these people are not secessionists. They want peace. They call for it. In fact, they even invited a lot of media. I think Daily Trust is high time it really goes into the bush and have, although they did it before and the former government prevented it from airing it on air. So why is government afraid of listening to these people? They just want to demonize them and give reasons to come in and divide us and cause mayhem in Nigeria.
Yes, the government, whenever they try to deal with the terrorists, they are creating division. They are trying to divide us, Not the terrorists who are carrying out these attacks. It's the government that is trying to divide us. And why can't the government allow the terrorists to tell us how they really feel? Why can't they go and listen to these terrorists and let them know, and let the terrorists tell them how they really feel? It is more important, okay? That is Sheikh Gumi, ladies and gentlemen. Sheikh Gumi, the terrorist sympathizer. And then he said, look at IPOB. When they call for meetings, for peace meetings, these terrorists, they attend the peace meetings. And then after they have finished attending the peace meetings, they go out and still carry out terror attacks. But at least they are attending the peace meetings. It shows progress, guys. It shows progress that terrorists always come for peace meetings where you promise them heaven and earth. And they tell you, if we'll fulfill whatever agreement we've arrived at. And then they go out and break every peace agreement that they reach. Every treaty you reach with them, they break it, just like their prophet, Muhammad, broke treaties, broke agreement. In fact, somebody who swore by Allah to his wives, and still Allah told him to break that promise. That is the person that these people are emulating, and you think they're going to keep their promise, and any form of dialogue is going to be productive. Really. Anyway, before we look at something else that Sheikh Gumi has to say, I want to recognize this super sticker. Thank you so much. Or super chat, actually. You didn't say anything, but thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Keep them coming, guys. Thank you. Absolutely said. That's my wife said, what do you expect from a man who chose to grow white beard so fast? I mean, what do you expect from that man? So yeah, that's what we get from Sheikh Gumi. Now there are more things that Sheikh Gumi has said. Here is another one from him. In this one, Sheikh Gumi tried to help us understand that there is a psychology behind these killers. there is a plight that has given rise to this. And we need to pay attention to the plight of these people. We need to pay attention to how they feel, to what they are going through. We need to understand their condition. We need to understand that they are all poor. Poverty has led them to terrorism, not religious fanaticism, not some imam like Sheikh Gumi going and telling them that they need to pick up arms and establish a caliphate, and that is the way forward, and that's how Allah is going to bless them. Either they get blessed in this life by, getting to rape more women and getting to take over people's land, or they get blessed in the year after by getting 72 horses. That's not what is making these people engage in acts of violence. It's just their plight. You need to see their condition, and we need to recognize that, of course. So here is Sheikh Gumi, not just in a speech, but in a well-written statement telling us this exactly. And here is what he has to say. When I venture into the forest to understand the root of banditry and the true nature of what we are facing, I met teenagers, strangers to education, armed with sophisticated weapons and driven by drugs. As a former military officer, now that's one thing to know about Sheikh Gumi. He once served in the Nigerian army. As a former military officer, I know the strength of our armed forces, but I also know this: we cannot win a war against people who have nothing to lose. Okay, if these people have nothing to lose, then so what? You really think that you cannot win a war against people who have nothing to lose? Really? No, you can. You can actually win a war against people who have nothing to lose. And that's one thing about Islamic radicals. Okay? Terrorists of the Islamic persuasion often have nothing to lose and everything to gain, either in this life or in the hereafter. And that is by design of the ideology. It has nothing to do with economic reality. Okay? When Osama bin Laden decided to engage in the acts of terror, he didn't have anything to lose and everything to gain according to Islam. That is why he did what he did, and that's why Islamic terrorists are willing to go that's why Islamic terrorists are willing to go as far as they do, because they have nothing to lose. And you said these people are strangers to education. Why is that the case? Despite how many agencies, how many NGOs in northern Nigeria are trying to provide these people with education. How many times have we had that the government tried an education program in northern Nigeria that fails? It doesn't fail because there is a lack of fund. It doesn't fail because people who are offering this education are being corrupt, even though sometimes that is the case. But that's not why these education programs in the north fail. It fails because people do not value Western education. And that sentiment is captured in the name Boko Haram. Boko Haram signifies these people do not value education. So why are they not educated? Because they don't value it. They don't want it. They are strangers to education, as if that is my fault or the fault of the government. No, that is the fault of the terrorists themselves. They do not want to be educated. These are not civilized men. Please don't insult terrorists, okay? Don't be Islamophobic. They are civilized in the Islamic way. They have been corrupted by external influences, stripped of meaning, and robbed of the very sense of life itself. History has shown that no one truly wins against such despair. No, people actually win. Okay, when people actually win against such despair. Give me one example in history where such despair was not defeated through military action. Give me one. Especially when these people don't have what it takes to even further whatever cause they are trying to further. When the Nigerian military is, if they want to really do something, is more capable than these terrorists. This was when I realized the real mission: to make them human again, to give them a purpose worth living for. This is why I urge them to lay down their arms, and they also do not listen to me. I build a school for them, with people to guide them. Yeah, you build a school for them so that you can control them. And during every Ramadan lecture, a Fulani scholar will speak to them in their own tongue, teaching them morality, compassion, and the sanctity of human life. In my conviction, this is the only path forward. Instead of telling the government security agencies where these people are and how to deal with them, this is what you decide to waste your precious time and resources on. That is if you even did any of this. When you do not hold the monopoly on arms, war is not the answer. The North will not become a slaughterhouse. Okay, it will not become a slaughterhouse, but it is, even though slaughters are going on, the North will not become what it already is. Essentially, according to Sheikh Gumi, the North will not become what it is already. Nigeria will never become another Gaza. So you recognize that what is happening in Gaza is counter-terrorism. At least we are making progress with this Islamic cleric. We will tend to our wounds, rise from them, and move forward by the will of God. At least I have done my share in trying to bring lasting peace in my land, risking my life and that of those I care about, while others sit cowardly at the comfort of their homes. God bless the Federal Republic of Nigeria, says the Islamic terrorist sympathizer and their spokesperson. You can see that a country that takes this man serious is not committed to dealing with terrorism. It's not committed to dealing with Islamic terrorism. Then we have a statement from the Deputy Senate President of Nigeria. The Deputy Senate President of Nigeria is not happy with Donald Trump. Okay, he's really upset with Donald Trump and what Donald Trump said about Nigeria. And he said, apologize to Nigeria for your remark. Deputy Senate President tells Trump. Deputy Senate President Senator Barrow Jibrin, as you can see from his name, he's a very wise man, has criticized U.S. President Donald Trump over his recent comment labeling Nigeria as a disgraced country, calling that statement offensive and undiplomatic. We already know what Trump did. Reacting in a viral video that circulated widely on Friday, Jibrin condemned the threat, saying it violates diplomatic norms and international law. Just the threat alone is what is violating the international law. But for now, for the President of the United States to come in and say, oh, you are doing this and we are going to attack you, and Nigeria is a disgraced country, that is quite unacceptable. What are you going to do about it? What are you going to do about it? Absolutely nothing. We feel he should understand, then retract the statement and apologize to Nigeria. Maybe you think he's one of your citizens that you have a knack for pushing around and slapping around. This is the president of the United States. Okay, he's not going to listen to whatever nonsense you have to say. Apologize to who? To you? Shame is the problem. The lack of shame is the problem of Nigerian politicians, as we can clearly see. Moving on. While all of them are busy making all this noise, Trump is already moving into action, and the United States is not wasting time. That is the funny thing. Why the government of Nigeria is busy playing politics and asking questions and asking for apologies and trying to reframe whatever it is being discussed. They are trying to look at the proper way to characterize the killing of Christians and the beheading of Christian pastors and all the brutal atrocities that are being carried out by these Islamic extremists. While they are trying to look about framing and messaging, which is more important than anything else for the Nigerian government and their supporters, whether you find them in the BBC or in CNN or whether you find them in AU or or in ECOWAS, wherever you find them. While they are busy wasting their time with that, the Nigerian government, the United States government, is moving swiftly into action. Doing what they already threatened that they would do. Introducing legislation to deal with, introducing bills into Congress and introducing laws that will deal with the Nigerian government and put more pressure on them. For the first time, Nigeria is looking at the United States and looking at what it looks like to see a government that is determined to do something. While our government is busy making debates and releasing statements about framing and messaging and, using the right words and using the right semantics. While the government is obsessing over that and their supporters are busy obsessing over that, the United States is actually doing something. And here is one of the things that has been announced recently from Donald Trump. The U.S. revoked visas of 80,000 Nigerians and other nationals. The visa revocation, the State Department said, was promise made, promise kept by President Donald Trump's administration. The U.S. Department of State disclosed this in a statement on Thursday. The visa revocation, he said, was promise made, promise kept by President Donald Trump's administration. The statement noted that President Trump will always put the safety and interests of the American people first. Major reasons for this revocation include assault, theft, and driving under the influence. The State Department said 16,000 of those driving under the influence, 12,000 of those involved in assault, 8,000 of those involved in theft, and their had their visas revoked respectively in 2025. Other reasons for these visa revocation include terrorism, supporting terrorism, public safety threats, and overstaying visas. This is a government that actually wants to do what needs to be done. They are not out there giving speeches. How many times has Trump spoken about this problem? 2 tweets, 1 statement, and lots of action. Lots of pieces are already moving. Things are already being put in place. We already hearing about plans that is being drafted by the U.S. military. Meanwhile, the Nigerian government is busy releasing statements. They've been releasing statements for months. Another thing that is happening is that there have been meetings that have been held with regards to designating Nigeria a country of particular concern. And of course, we'll still get official statement from what is being said in the meeting. But we already know something from someone, Sean Nelson, a United States citizen who has been outspoken about what is happening in Nigeria and also who have been monitoring and reporting on it for a very long time. He has also been to Nigeria multiple times, been to IDP camps and reported from there, talking about the realities he has seen in Nigeria. So he was privy to or in attendance in one of those meetings or the recent meeting with regarding the CPC designation of Nigeria carried out by the House Foreign Affairs Committee, official account of the House Committee on Foreign Affairs, and this is from their chairman. Anyways, this is a meeting that they held. Let me just read what his tweet said. Standing room only for these meetings, for this morning's House Foreign GOP African hearing on religious persecution in Nigeria, especially against Christians. Now, here are some of the things that he said happened. Okay, here is an official statement from the House Foreign Affairs majority. The House Foreign Affairs Subcommittee on Africa holds a meeting titled Conflict and Persecution in Nigeria, the Case for a CPC Designation. If you have clicked here, you'll see the broadcast, but I think the broadcast is already over. One witness just raised, now this is somebody giving a live report. So he said one witness just raised the Nigerian Supreme Court upholding of the unjust conviction and death sentence of a Christian farmer, Sunday Jackson, in clear self-defense. It's become an international outrage. Former chairs, this person, Tony Perkin, said the U.S. must redesignate Nigeria as a country of particular concern. It's time for the United States to send an unmistakable message. Chairman Chris Smith going on a litany describing the repeated attempts from himself and others in the U.S. to work with Nigerian officials to combat impunity and oppose terrorism, leading to crickets. Essentially, what he's saying here is that this person, Chris Smith, gave numerous examples of how they have tried to collaborate with Nigerian officials in combating this terrorism, and all their efforts have been met with silence. And then here he said, Smith also said that if moderate imams speak out in Nigeria, it puts an immediate target on their back, which is why we have instances of Boko Haram and all these groups targeting Muslims. The Muslim communities that they target are Muslim communities that they consider to be not Muslim enough. It still does not take out from the fact that they are also targeting Christians because of their religion. This congressman said he thinks Biden administration would discount targeting of Christians in Nigeria and elsewhere while having no problem raising other groups. I don't know what that exactly means. And so there are a lot more that he reported that is going on in Nigeria. So this is a meeting that is being held in the United States. Meanwhile, in Lagos, Nigeria, protests are being held. Yes, not just in Lagos, Nigeria, but in Nigeria as a whole. Okay? 2 protests were held in Nigeria against Trump. Yes. 2 protests in Nigeria were held against Trump. The first one was held in Lagos. And the one held in Lagos was kind of interesting to me because I don't understand why Lagosians are protesting. Because if Trump is to do anything in Nigeria, it's not going to affect Lagosians. Your life will not be affected. The problem that is being talked about is not happening in Lagos. It is not your issue. You have been quiet for a very long time when Christians are being killed or when people in general are being killed in other parts of the country. But now that someone is wanting to do something about it, you are protesting. And you know what I find interesting about the protest? In Nigeria, it is notorious in Nigeria that whenever a protest is being held, you have government officials, you have the police present. In fact, sometimes protests have been declared unlawful and those who organize them have been arrested. In fact, charged with treason. But in this instance, The Nigerian government is suddenly in support of protest, and protest is not unlawful, and it's not a disturbance to public safety and public peace. All of a sudden, protest is good. And here is an example of that protest. This is taking place in Lagos, Nigeria. This group staged peaceful protests in Lagos against plans of U.S. military invasion in Nigeria. And as you can see from this, they are chanting, "America, leave us alone." Nigerians united against U.S. threat of military invasion. You can see this bunch of jobless and serious people. I can say with 90% certainty that many of these protesters were paid to appear here. You know, you can even see from they were paid, obviously. I mean, to print this out and carry it, you were paid to be here. And they are not a large crowd. It's just a bunch of people, you know, a handful coming together and saying, "Leave us alone. America, leave us alone." You know, as if America is coming for you in particular. Are you the terrorist? Like we've always said in this country, those of us who are in support of the U.S. invading or intervening militarily in this country, we often ask those who are opposed to it, are you the terrorist that they are coming to wipe out? So why are you making noise? Are you the terrorist? And if you want the United States to leave you alone, does that mean they should go with their aid money? USAID that pay for many of the health care that you enjoy in Nigeria, do you want them to live with it as well? When you say leave us alone, what exactly are you asking for? Be careful what you ask for. And we have another example of that protest. This was taking place in Kano State. And Kano State had quite the crowd, okay? Thousands of people in Kano State have come out. Of course, these thousands should be taken with a pinch of salt. Okay, maybe it's just hundreds. Hundreds of people in Kano State have come out in protest to strongly condemn the remark made by U.S. President Donald Trump about attacking Nigeria. And just notice something about the pictures. First of all, they have Donald Trump dressed as a jobless Nigerian. And then you can see them having kafia. I don't know why they are wearing kafia in a protest against Donald Trump about his statement about Christian genocide in Nigeria, or Christians being targeted in Nigeria, rather. And here they are, you can see them. And this is another thing that I find interesting. If you look behind, what do you see here? The flag of Palestine. And I ask myself, in a protest that has to do with Nigeria, what is the flag of Palestine doing in that protest? What has Palestine to do with this? Why Palestine? What are you people trying to achieve? What is the point of this? People could have well just flown the flag of Hezbollah and Hamas while you're at it. You know, so I will know exactly who you guys are. Because rumor has it that many of you are like either terrorists or terrorist sympathizers. And yep, that is from northern Nigeria. I wonder who these people are. Are they the terrorists in question? Are they the terrorists that we should be wary of? And we have one of them. One of them had something to say to, right? Do I have that? Yeah, one of them had something to say to Donald Trump. One of these protesters had something, a message for Donald Trump. These people are not happy, okay? And, you know, they want the United States to be afraid, okay? They are saying this, hoping to, you know, stoke fear and stoke, you know, make the United States want to reconsider their position about what they are saying about Nigeria. And I want you guys to listen to this and see if the United States is to listen to this guy, if they are going to have a rethink and reconsider ever trying to invade or intervene militarily in this country. So let's listen to this northerner from Nigeria.
Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Comrade Mohammed Ali Ringim, an ex-security expert. Securing lives and properties is my area of specialization.
Yeah, securing life and property is your area of specialization. You're from the north, and yet people are being slaughtered in your backyard. Experts in securing lives and property. You should be ashamed of yourself. But again, if you are ashamed of yourself, we will not be talking about you. You understand? You are immune to shame. You know, so but keep talking, sir.
I want to see this very moment to call upon His Excellency the United States of American President Mr. Donald Trump, my good friend, to please be aware that Nigeria We are not suffering from religiosism, tribalism.
What is religionism? I don't know whatever that is, but whatever it is, he wants Trump to know that we are not suffering from religionism.
We are not persecuting Christians.
We are not. Yeah, no kidding. Yeah, if he said if this guy is saying it, then it has to be true.
We are always living together.
Always.
Christians and Buddhists, Sikhs.
I didn't know that Buddhists and Sikhs were in this country, but you know, I learn every day that we have Buddhists and Sikhs in this country.
Hindus,
Taos,
Maos,
every Eastern religion. Every Eastern religion, we are living at peace in this country. I didn't know that, but wow, you know.
Baha'is, Rastas, Satanists, and Shantos. All these religious denominations, if they may be at Nigeria, we are living peaceably with them because we are suffering from humanitarianism.
We are suffering from humanitarianism. My G. Someone said he's drunk. We are suffering from humanitarianism, ladies and gentlemen.
Mr. Donald Trump, let me be aware that Nigeria is not Vietnam. Nigeria is not Afghanistan.
He said Nigeria is not Vietnam. If Nigeria is Vietnam, don't you know that that's a bragging right? This smart, brilliant Malam obviously knows what he's talking about. If you can compare Nigeria to Vietnam, that is a flex. That is a big flex. Because you may not know this, sir, but the United States did not win the war. We are not the winners of the Vietnam War. If you are going to compare Nigeria to Vietnam, in terms of we are strong, we are resilient, we can fight back, and your statement is we are not Vietnam. Then you're essentially saying, yeah, it is easy to defeat us.
Nigeria is not Iraq. Nigeria is not Iran. Nigeria is not Venezuela.
He said Nigeria is not Iraq. Nigeria is not Iran. Now, I didn't mention this, but that protest that we saw, that protest that I just talked about that took place in Kaduna was organized by the Shia religious sect. And the Shia religious sect in Nigeria is being funded by Iran. So essentially that protest we just saw was funded by Iran. But of course, Nigeria is not Iran.
If you attempt to encourage and make aggression and
Iran can carry out drone strikes. Nigerian military does not have what it takes to carry out drone strikes. At least, even though their drone strike sometimes can be abysmal, but at least they can carry it out. But Nigerian military does not even have what it takes to carry out drone strikes.
And send your armed forces to Nigeria to wage war. It's an unscrupulousness. But be aware that our mosquitoes, they are waiting for your soldiers.
Yes, America, beware of the mosquitoes in Nigeria. Beware of the mosquitoes. Beware of the mosquitoes, America. Even though we have something, like, there are so many things that you can use to deal with mosquitoes. You have what we call mosquito repellents that if you rub them on your skin, mosquitoes will not even bite you. Like, there are so many things. And then you have treatment for malaria. But America should be aware of that, okay? Be aware of the mosquitoes in Nigeria. That is the major threat, okay? It's not the militants. It's not Boko Haram. It's mosquitoes.
To bite them and infect them with malaria fever, to die instantly. And more so, I heard last minute that Lieutenant General Chiwai Danjuma made a blatant falsified allegation against the Nigerian armed forces.
Okay, T.Y. Danjuma, the former Nigerian chief of armed staff, T.Y. Danjuma, is that his position? I'm not sure. But T.Y. Danjuma, somebody who was a prominent military personnel in this country, who had a major rank in Nigerian military, said that said that the military is complicit and also a participant in the killing of Christians in this country and the killings that are taking place in this country. Essentially, that's what T.Y. Danjuma said. And now he's giving a statement to T.Y. Danjuma. T.Y. Danjuma, listen to this Malam. This Malam is telling you something very important. T.Y. Danjuma.
He stated that Nigerian armed forces, they are conniving, conspiring, collaborating with bandits.
Yes, that is true.
Which is a blatant falsified lie.
That is a blatant falsified lie. I don't even know what that means. I don't even know what blatant falsified lie means. I really have no idea what he's trying to say.
Blatant falsified
This
lie.
is what Almajiri education will give you. When you are raised by Almajiri, when the school you attended was built by Sheikh Gumi. When the school you attended was built by Sheikh Gumi, this is what you produce. This is the result. This is the result of Sheikh Gumi Memorial High School. Okay, he's not dead. Sheikh Gumi International School, renowned international school from northern Nigeria. This is what they produce.
T.Y. Danjuma, B1, I know you very well since Murtala Mohammed administration. Before you become a madman, you are sensible.
Before you became a madman, you are sensible. That's this English is not by force.
You are the chief of army staff in Nigeria. But for you to accuse our armed forces, more especially the soldiers and our security agencies, for conniving and working together with bandits, is a blatant falsified lie.
Is a blatant falsified. Yes, somebody who is a top-ranking former army officer in Nigeria, who is privy to so much information that you can only imagine, is telling us what is going on, and we should ignore it. He's a blatant falsified lie. Why you that look like you have never held any significant position in this country? You've never held any significant position in your village. Even in your family, your wife does not respect you. You are the one that we should... You are the one that we should pay attention to. Please, sir, go and drink kunu and calm down, okay? If adults are talking, this is a very serious conversation, okay? This is not a conversation for mad people. This is not a conversation for people who escaped Yaba left. Go and sit down, drink kunu and sit down.
And if you are among the people that are instigating United States of America to come and wage war at Nigeria, black people armed forces, they are gallant. They can fight you.
Thank you I'm very sure that the United States, they are shaking right now. I know that Pete Hegseth just watched this and is like, maybe we should reconsider. Maybe we should reconsider. Maybe we should reconsider, going into this country. These guys are scary, okay? Did you see that guy? Did you see what he said? Maybe we should start reconsidering. I'm very sure that, Trump is reconsidering right now. He's reconsidering, seriously. Okay. Finally, we have Tucker Carlson. Tucker Carlson has finally said something about Nigeria. Can you believe it? Tucker Carlson has said something. But before we get into what Tucker Carlson has said, please, guys, remember to smash that like button, okay? Smash the like button, especially the one in the live chat. I want to see the love flowing in the air, okay? Spam the live chat with this love reaction that you are seeing floating right now. I'm the one who is clicking it, but I want you to conclude that who is clicking it right now. Not all the time I'm the one clicking it, but right now I'm the one who just clicked it. And I want you guys to continue doing that. And spam it with just your like. Let me know that, with any reaction of your choice. Let me know that I'm talking to real people, okay? And thank you for still watching. And send in super chats, okay? Send in super chats, super sticker. Support the channel financially. And I will pray for you tomorrow when I go to church. The truth is, I always pray for my audience. You guys don't know how much I pray for you. I pray for you that, you get to know the truth. You get to understand what is going on in the world. You get well educated, and also that you get to know eternal truths as well. So I really pray for you guys, and I appreciate whatever you send my way. I 100% appreciate it. God will bless you as you do so. Anyways, Tucker Carlson has something to say. Okay, finally, he has something to say, and what he said comes as no surprise. I would have been surprised if Tucker Carlson said, Tucker Carlson is like Nazareth during the time of Jesus. Can anything good come out of him? It's kind of the sentiment I have for Tucker Carlson. Tucker Carlson would have surprised me if he said something other than what he said. Kind of how Matt Walsh surprised me earlier this week when he actually talked about what is going on in Nigeria. I mean, his statement was, I still remember the things he said. That's to tell you how remarkable what he said was. But for Tucker Carlson, he's not capable of such a thing. And this is what he has to say.
But he's all of a sudden kind of out of nowhere, but he's all of a sudden kind of out.
Now, he's talking about Ted Cruz. And this is what he's saying about Ted Cruz.
But he's all of a sudden kind of out of nowhere, deeply concerned about the plight of Christians in Nigeria, which I want to.
Now, he's saying that Ted Cruz is all of a sudden, out of nowhere, deeply concerned about the persecution of Christians in Nigeria. And we are going to see shortly that is not true. I'm going to show you one example of why that is not true. But generally, that is not true. If there's one politician that has been outspoken in the United States about what is happening in Nigeria, that politician will be Ted Cruz. Okay, Ted Cruz has been very, very outspoken. Okay, so what Tucker Carlson is saying here is obviously false. And this is the problem I need people who listen to Tucker Carlson to know. Okay, I watched recently Ben Shapiro talk about Tucker Carlson. He did that, he did his show where all he talked about was about Tucker Carlson and Nick Fuentes. And there's something he said, that Tucker Carlson is a liar. And that is true. I really need those who listen to him to know this. I know many of you will have some things that he has said that you agree with or whatever. Or maybe you don't. But one thing anybody needs to know is that Tucker Carlson is a pathological liar. If Tucker Carlson meets you and say good morning to you, go outside and check. It might not be morning. If he tells you good evening, go out and check. It might not really be evening. That is how much he lies. He lies when it is not even needed. What he just said about Ted Cruz is a big fat lie. And we are going to see that. We are going to see why that is the case. And then everything afterwards is also just lies. But let's take it back and listen to him talk again.
But he's all of a sudden kind of out of nowhere, deeply concerned about the plight of Christians in Nigeria, which I want to restate. Maybe a totally valid concern. I don't know. But
he said maybe it is a totally valid concern. He doesn't know. Then if you don't know, do the world a huge favor and just shut up. But, you cannot tell him to shut up. You can't tell him what to say and what not to say, okay? He's going to do whatever he likes. Nobody can tell these people what to do and what not to do. That's what makes you a pundit in today's political media climate.
That's weird. What is that? All of a sudden, everybody's concerned about people.
Yeah, he said, people being concerned about what is going on in Nigeria is weird. It is weird to be concerned that people are being slaughtered in Nigeria. According to Tucker Carlson, it is weird. Let's play that again and listen to him so that you will know that I'm not the one putting words in his mouth.
Maybe a totally valid concern. I don't know. But that's weird. What is that? All of a sudden, everybody's concerned about people who clearly have no track record of being interested in Christians at all, including Ted Cruz. What is going on?
So let's assume that it is true that many of the people who are speaking up right now about what is happening in Nigeria have not been people who maybe let's assume that those who are talking about the persecution of Christians in Nigeria we're not talking about it before. So what? There's always going to be a time where you pick where your interest in something is going to start. There's always going to be a starting point, and if this is that starting point, yes, definitely, by all means, it's going to start one day. So what is this talk about? Oh, many of the people who are talking about this are not people who used to be interested in it. This is a sudden interest. So what? This so-called sudden interest criticism or observation is pointless. Why are you bringing it up? Like somebody cannot suddenly be interested in something. You cannot suddenly get interested in something. You cannot wake up one morning and say, you know what? I am interested in this. Now, concerning the lie that Ted Cruz have never been interested in this issue. Here is a tweet here is something that Ted Cruz said. Sorry, let me be sure about. Let me bring it up. Here is something that Ted Cruz said way in the past about what was happening in Nigeria, where he chimed in about an issue happening in Nigeria, an issue that many people in America don't even know about, including, renowned journalist Tucker Carlson. But here is something that is, in fact, when I saw that Ted Cruz said something about this, I was like, this shows somebody who is paying. There are things where if you know this, it means you have been paying real close attention to what is happening. And for Ted Cruz to have said something about it back then, it means he has been paying real close attention to what is happening in this country, and have been doing so for a very long time. And here's the headline. Sean Nelson was the one who posted about this on X or Twitter. He said, if anyone is wondering whether Ted Cruz is suddenly concerned about Christians in Nigeria, I will note he was the long-time major congressional advocate for Leah Sharibu. A Nigerian who hears the name Leah Sharibu and hears that Ted Cruz has been a long-time major congressional advocate for Leah Sharibu will be like, wow. Now, many people talked about bring back our girls, but not everybody know the name of the girls that they are asking to be brought back. Okay, many people held the placard, bring back our girls. But if you ask them, name one girl that you are asking for to be brought back, they don't know. And many of these girls have been brought back. But Leah Sharibu and others who refuse to convert to Islam, Christian girls, are still in captivity. And Ted Cruz, as far back as 2019, joined the mother of Leah Sharibu, Rebecca Sharibu, in renewing calls for Boko Haram to release Leah Sharibu. This is from 2019. And this was Ted Cruz in 2019. And Ted Cruz repeatedly met with Leah Sharibu's mother. Repeatedly. So this is not somebody whose interest is speaking suddenly. This is somebody who has been interested in this as far back as 2019. This is a letter that he penned in 2019 to the President of Nigeria, His Excellency President President Muhammadu Buhari, President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, Office of the President, National Presidential Complex, Aso Rock, Abuja, Federal Capital Territory. Your Excellency, we write to thank you for your effort to secure the release of 104 schoolgirls captured by Boko Haram militants on February 19, 2018. However, one girl, Leah Sharibu, is still held prisoner by Boko Haram under brutal conditions because she refused to renounce her Christian faith. Boko Haram has stated repeatedly that they will execute Leah. She remains steadfast in her faith. Leah's story of courage and resilience in the face of mortal danger has inspired the international community and invoked global call for her safety and return home. Leah has now spent 2 birthdays in captivity. It is time to bring her home. The United States and Nigeria maintain a strategic relationship critical to both our interests and is built on mutual value, which cannot be reconciled with Leah's ongoing imprisonment. We respectfully urge your administration to use the fullest extent of your power to secure Leah's safe release. We stand ready to be of assistance and early await to hear about your commitment towards the ongoing effort. Leah Sharibu is still in custody today. Still in captivity today. Boko Haram is still holding her and many others like her. And many people are of the opinion that the agreement that Buhari's government had with Boko Haram is that they have to keep holding Leah Sharibu in order to release the 104 other schoolgirls that we have released. And this is Ted Cruz as far back as 2019 talking about it. So it is not true that this interest is sudden. This is why the Nigerian government cannot lie to people like Ted Cruz, because they have been monitoring this situation for a long time. Now, person will come newly that they lie to. Now, JJC that they lie give to speak like a Nigerian. It's only somebody who does not know what is happening that you lie to. You can't lie to Senator Ted Cruz. He knows what is going on. Anyway, so that's from Tucker Carlson. And in case, people are still doubting. But before I get into this, I want to acknowledge the super chat that I just received from ED. Thank you for the super chat. Thank you, ED. I really appreciate your $10 super chat. Thank you so much. And we have from Isaiah True One. He said, I have thought of having panels or guest speakers on your show. Yeah, I have thought of that. I have done that before also. Just that recently I'm on a mono streaming streak. Probably will resume having people on my show, but I often enjoy just talking, but I will in the future. I'll have a panel. I'll have people on my show. I've also held a call-in show where not so many people called in. Hopefully we'll do that again, and we'll have many of you call in and let us know what you think. Thank you for the super chat, and please keep them coming, more and more. Okay, my hands are wide open to receive as many as possible. Put your money where my mouth is, like I always say. So ISIS have responded to Donald Trump, beyond just Tucker Carlson and the like. ISIS has responded. And ISIS response puts to shame the Nigerian government, puts to shame the BBC, puts to shame CNN, and every other people who have said that terrorism knows no religion. ISIS have put all of them to shame. And this is what ISIS have to say. Now, for those who be wondering, why do we need to listen to what ISIS is saying? One of the terror groups carrying out attacks in Nigeria is known as ISWAP or ISWAP, which stands for Islamic State West African Province. So that's the ISIS chapter in West Africa, ISWAP. And ISWAP, for those who don't know, came out of Boko Haram. So Boko Haram used to, as a whole, used to be an arm of ISIS. But because there was a disagreement, there was a split. And then you have ISWAP and then you have Boko Haram. And ISWAP was the one that we are now affiliated with ISIS. And Boko Haram was like on its own. And then you had another split from Boko Haram that is now Ansaru. Ansaru is tied to Al-Qaeda and Boko Haram is just on its own. But these are their splits from Boko Haram. So it used to be, Boko Haram used to be just one group with ties to ISIS. And this is what ISIS is saying. ISIS admits genocide of Christians and dares Donald Trump to intervene. ISIS openly admits to carrying out a genocide against Christians in Africa and mocks Trump's threat to intervene. The terror group calls defending Christians an act of hatred against Islam. Listen to this paragraph. The terror group, that is ISIS, calls defending Christians an act of hatred against Islam and warns its fighters not to underestimate U.S. forces. They boast that the U.S. involvement would drag America into endless wars from Damascus to Africa. This is no leak. It is an official confession published in ISIS' own weekly news outlet. And the source is this. This is the source right here. So, and this is for the person who posted this after reporting that the Nigerian government said there is no Christian genocide. ISIS, the people who are carrying out the attack, have said, no, there is. We are targeting Christians. So I guess that is end of discussion. If the people who are carrying out the attack are like, yeah, guilty as charged, we are targeting Christians, what are you going to do about it? I guess that brings the conversation to an end. I guess we can now close it by saying, yes, they are targeting Christians. And yes, they are carrying out a genocide against Christians. I guess that brings everything to rest. When the terrorists themselves have spoken, we should listen to them. But of course, we know that's not how it is going to go. Okay, in the world, when terrorists speak, people try to rationalize. You know, when Hamas is like, want to wipe out the Jews, people come and say, that is actually, what does it really mean? What are they trying to say? What do they really want? When Iran shouts death to America, death to Israel, death to, whoever they want dead. You have people in the West who always come out and be like, what does that actually mean? It's a symbolic statement. It doesn't mean what you think it means. And I'm very sure we are going to see so many of such response moving forward. Now, with all of this that is happening, Nigerian pastors, the truth is, I need to say this. I have not given enough credit to so many Nigerian pastors because the ones that I've highlighted on my shows are the ones that say ridiculous things and deny what is happening, like Wale Adefarasi and others like him. But there are actually pastors in this country that have actually stood up for Christians. And I don't mean like local pastors who are dealing with this issue, but I'm talking about like major pastors, okay? As well as local pastors. And we're going to look at 3 examples that became prominent this period. One is from Johnson Suleiman. Now, I want to just give a warning for those who are going to listen to Johnson Suleiman. I know you are going to, when you listen to him speak, many of you from the West will say, is this how a man of God speak? Well, that is how a man of God speaks. That's how a Nigerian man of God speaks. I am not justifying what he's saying. I think it is kind of unbecoming for a preacher, but, just listen to him. You will get the point that I'm trying to make, but just listen to him. Just in everything he's going to say, just your takeaway should be that he admits, okay? Your takeaway should be that he admits that there is a genocide of Christians in Nigeria, and he has been vocal about it for a very long time. Those are the 2 takeaways that I want you to take away. Why he's going to say other things that may be off-putting, just focus on the message, okay? So here he is, Apostle Johnson Suleiman. Most of these pastors in Nigeria are apostles. So
when bad things start happening to them now, you won't know it's what you caused. When bad things start happening to your life, you won't know it's because you made comments that were lies. You start blaming village people that were innocent, witches that are tired of your case. This morning, the pastor called me on the phone, and he was very angry. It was quite brutal. And I said, why are you angry? So he's a notable preacher of the gospel. He said, can you imagine over the killings and all going on and the issue of killings of Christians, that some people were categorizing me, you, they said we are not speaking about killings. And I said to him, it's because you are still thinking everybody on social media have sense. So I think that's why you are bothered. I've been speaking since 2014, true of us. That's what I'm known for. I've been speaking. I've almost lost my life, almost lost my family. Our church in Abuja, was in Mabuchi, they brought it down. They brought our church down because we were speaking against the killings of Christians. And there's nobody should say, oh, Christians are not just the ones dying, Muslims are also dying. Are you not ashamed? It's like you caught a thief. You say, you stole my shirt and my trouser. You say, I didn't steal your shirt, I only stole your trouser. The truth is that there are killings, and the killings must stop. There are killings, and the government have no capacity to handle it. It's beyond them. There are killings. I have not just been speaking against killings. I traveled there. I was in Jos, I was in Benue, I was in Yola. Everywhere there have been killings, I've been there. So there are killings in the country. For those of you who are in the West, you know, when I finish like this, they will get their data boys. That they give 20.
When he said, for those of you who are in the West, it doesn't mean the Western world. It means in Lagos. Okay, he's not a pastor from Lagos. He's a pastor from... In fact, he's a pastor from the part of Nigeria where you experience this type of killing. So he said, for those of them who are in the West, it means those of them who are in Lagos, who are in Western Nigeria. Okay. I often make that kind of statement. People don't get it. They think I'm talking about... Sometimes when I say for those in the West, I mean in Western Nigeria. And you might mistake it to mean, I mean in the Western world. But, you know, so...
20,000 to start posting. In case you want to post something about me, look for one I wear good suit. Look for where I'm dressed well. Don't look for one of our social media handlers was telling me that they brought a picture of me praying for Ukraine, and they said he's praying for you.
Yeah, we are done. All right. So yeah, that's Apostle Johnson Suleiman and what he had to say about what is happening. And you can see he's saying that I've been talking about this as far back as 2014, and his comment on what's happening with the government is that the government does not have what it takes to deal with the problem. It's beyond them, according to him. Now, I don't believe that. I don't believe that it is beyond them. I believe that they don't have the will to deal with it. It is not beyond them. And we've seen, you know, things to show us that I'm not wrong. We've heard from a congressman from, not a congressman, a lawmaker. We don't have congress people in this part of the world. We have a lawmaker from Borno State. Borno State, like I said, is the state where Boko Haram started the attack. And we've had a lawmaker from Borno State tell us that they had mercenaries that we are dealing with the Boko Haram insurgency issue, and we are almost about to wipe them out completely. But they had to send them away because it was not politically advantageous for them to do so, because it would deprive them of cheap political points that they needed to score against the against the Tinubu administration. And that's why they chased these mercenaries away. We've seen that. We've also seen so many people who have talked about how the government is part of the facilitators of these brutal attacks, and how military personnel are also collaborating and assisting in furthering this. And we also see so many of these reports and statements and behavior that suggests that there is this kind of collaboration or just complicity in dealing with the issue. So I don't think it's because the government don't have... In fact, I don't think it is a reasonable thing to say that the government does not have what it takes to deal with this. Because when they come to the eastern part of the country and want to deal with IPOB, they're very strong. You know, the Nigerian army in the east is the lion of the tribe of Judah. But in the north, they are pussycats. So let's listen to another minister. This is a prominent minister of the gospel, Pastor E.A. Adeboye. So let's listen to him.
What should we do now? I'm talking to you as my children. If I were asked to make suggestions, I would say quietly to our government. Move fast. Move diplomatically. Move wisely. Find a way to convince the President of America to please delay his actions for about 100 days. And then come home and tell our security chiefs, get rid of these terrorists within 90 days or resign.
So his suggestion, sorry, he speaks very slowly. That's why I even have to increase the speed. If I was playing this at normal speed, so many of you will have dozed off. So this is Pastor E. Adeboye. Now, when you hear that, President Tinubu's wife is a pastor, she's a pastor in this church, the church that he is the general overseer of, Redeemed Christian Church of God. So this is the pastor of the president's wife, and this is his statement to the president. Essentially, do something about this. Earlier, I think, or maybe further down, he's going to say, this talk about what is it called? What shall we call it? Genocide, suicide is not necessary. Deal with this problem and deal with it decisively. Get your new chief of staff and give them an ultimatum, 3 months to deal with this situation. Let them, if they don't deal with it in 3 months, they should resign. He said, get the United States to give you 100 days of grace and tell them that in 100 days you are going to deal with the situation. And if you get that 100 days of grace, then deal with it. And essentially, he's telling them to move fast. Essentially, the same thing that Donald Trump is saying to the president of Nigeria is the same thing that E.A. Adeboye is saying to the president of Nigeria. Move fast. Move fast. Do something about this and do it fast. Stop all this propaganda that you are spreading across every media platform. Move fast. Do something about the problem. I know Domini said that I'm funny. I wonder what I'm saying that is funny. I'm very serious right now. Anyway, so that is what he's saying. And let's listen to more of what he has to say.
Now that, I'm sure, will sound familiar to those of you who have been following situation in Nigeria. There was a president, unfortunately, he's dead now, that's Buhari, who issued such an order. Some of you will remember. Who called the service chief together and said, I give you 3 months. Get rid of all these Boko Haram people or resign. He's not around to tell you who gave him that advice.
All right. So what he's saying here is that, and which is true, there was a time that the former president of Nigeria, former late president of Nigeria, Muhammadu Buhari, gave such an ultimatum to the Nigerian chief of staff, military armed chief of staff, told them to deal with this problem in 3 months or resign, or he's going to, fire them essentially. And he gave out that threat and issued that, and then nothing was done about it. Nothing was done. In fact, he did not, in 3 months, they did not deal with the issue, and he did not get them to resign. Okay? They remained chief of staff. And he was saying that the reason why Muhammadu Buhari said that was because he, E.A. Adeboye, gave him that advice. Now, this part of his statement raises an observation. Okay? Because when he spoke to Muhammadu Buhari, we were not aware of that conversation. Okay? We were not aware of that conversation. it was done in private. So the question is, why are we aware of this conversation you are having now with Tinubu? Is it because you are unable to see him, despite the fact that you are the pastor of his wife? Is it that you are not able to see him, which is something we've heard from others in the government, saying that it is impossible, almost impossible to see or have a meeting with the president because he has surrounded himself with sycophants? So I suspect that that is the case right now, that E.A. Adeboye is not able to see the president. That's why he has to issue this statement publicly. That is what I suspect. Someone asked, Dominic asked if the speed is 2 times. No, it's just 1.5. I increase it to 1. Maybe I should increase it to 2 times because our pastor is taking his time. His pause is more pregnant than any pause from Barack Obama.
He ran with that advice, but he didn't follow it through. Because he gave the order as the commander-in-chief of the armed forces. But the security operatives moved fast. But 3 months went, and the work was not done. So I went to see him. It was in the news, so this time, somehow, the press got to know that I visited him. Of course, they were not there when we talked. Unfortunately, like I said, he's not alive now. Or else I would have asked you to go and ask him. Sir, why didn't you follow through? Because when 3 months passed and the work wasn't done, why didn't you proceed with your, are we going to call it threat? I won't tell you the details, but one thing came out of that meeting which would lead me to my next advice to our government, in case there's any of you who can get across to them. That when giving orders to the service chief this time round, we should make it clear to them that they are not only to eliminate the terrorists, they should eliminate their sponsors.
I guess what this is suggesting to me, there's how Nigerians speak. There are some things that are insinuated. It's not stated, but it is insinuated. Because he said that after he spoke with Buhari, and then Buhari gave the threat that the chief of staff or the armed chief of staff and those in charge of the security in Nigeria, security agencies in Nigeria, had 3 months, 90 days to deal with the problem. And that after 90 days, they were not able to deal with the problem, and yet they were not fired. And then he went and met with Buhari and asked him, okay, why didn't you follow through? And he said many things you have said, and that would lead him to his next statement. And his next statement was that the current administration should not only deal with the terrorists themselves, but deal with their sponsors. That suggests that the reason why the past administration could not deal with the terrorists is because of their sponsors, which is something we all know. Their sponsors are in the government. Their sponsors are everywhere. You cannot deal with these terrorists because they have so many sponsors in so many parts of government. Now, yes, it is fair to criticize Adeboye's approach and say when it was Jonathan, you took to the streets. You were protesting on the streets. Okay, you carried placard. You called it prayer walk, but it was a protest. And you did your prayer walk when it was Jonathan's time. But now that when it was Buhari, you said nothing. Instead, you held meetings with him. You held meetings with him. Now that it is Tinubu, you are just issuing statements. You're not taking to the streets. So you can always still point all of that out. But I think strongly, as much as, of course, I'm critical of him too, but I think we need to give him some grace to recognize also that, he speaks to the government agencies, or not just government agencies. He speaks to those in power, the president, the governors. He speaks to them and he tries to advise them. He tries to tell them what they should do about what is going on in the country. He tries to, in private, bring these issues before them. And many times he has been ignored. So I think that is his approach. And I will not fault him for it, honestly. Even though I would expect it to be consistent, that under Jonathan, he would have done the same thing. Meet with Jonathan in private instead of taking to the street and doing his so-called prayer walk. He could have taking the same approach, but at least then he will be consistent. But The inconsistency with the way he approaches it is what can be criticized. But approaching it, he has. Talking about it, he has. Bringing this issue before the government, he has. He just has not been doing it in the public.
No matter how influential they may be.
So he's saying, deal with the sponsors of terrorism in Nigeria, no matter how influential they might be. Is he aware that some of them that these sponsors might, I'm not saying might, be the vice president of the country?
When I say my people, when I say our leaders should move fast, move diplomatically, we have to be and move wisely. We must take note of the fact that if America should attack us, China is not coming to defend us. Mm-hmm. Russia will not come to defend us.
The only problem I have with that statement is if America should attack us, please, who is us? America is not attacking me. Okay? A bomb is not going to hit where I live. Okay, let's be serious. America is not attacking us. So that needs to be clarified. Okay, they are attacking the terrorists themselves. Take the terrorists in question. They are particularly trying to strike the terrorists. When we look at the plan that they have drafted, it's targeting terrorists, not me.
All the so-called world leaders, they will talk. They will condemn what America had done in strongest.
So he's saying at the end that what the other world leaders and the international community will do at the end of the day is to issue statements and strong worded condemnations, but they are not going to do anything to stop the US if they should intervene in Nigeria. And I don't know why that is a problem. And the part that I don't know why it is a problem is the intervention part. Why should it be a problem if the US is to intervene in Nigeria? It should be a welcomed development, especially when you recognize the incompetency of our government. When you realize that the government is incompetent, I think it should be a prayer point at this point for the US to intervene and for the US to do something about what is going on in this country. All right. Beyond just that, we have also other Christian bodies. Many Christian bodies have come out to, in fact, at this point, the Nigerian government seem to be on their own. They are losing local support and they are really losing international support, even though they want to pretend like that is not the case, but that is really the case. They are losing local support among Christians in Nigeria. They are losing the support. Like the goal of trying to recruit Nigerian pastors or Christian bodies to help defend them and promote their lies in the media has not been successful. It has not. Okay, so many media and Christian organizations in Nigeria have come out to say, look, what is happening is indeed a genocide. There is indeed a persecution of Christians, and the government is doing nothing to deal with it. And they have, in fact, many of these organizations have gone as far as welcoming Donald Trump's intervention, welcoming Donald Trump's tweet and statement, and saying that they don't see anything wrong with what Donald Trump is saying or intending to do. In fact, they have claimed that they have no problem with it and they welcome it. So, as far as the religious front is concerned, it's only Muslims that we see opposed to Trump's military intervention. Keep that in mind when the Nigerian government come out and tell you about unity of religion and how everyone is united. Keep that in mind that majority of the Christians in this country and their organizations have come out in support of Trump's intervention, have come out in support of what Trump intends to do. Why the Muslims are denying it. And they are, in fact, the Muslims and all the Muslim organizations are denying it vehemently and opposing it vehemently. So keep that in mind when they tell us that this country is united. But before that, here is another pastor who has something to say about what is happening in Nigeria.
Can you imagine Christians are saying that it is not Christians that are really being killed, that it's both Christians and Muslims? How many Muslims?
So this pastor is criticizing some Christians which is true. There are some, but not the majority. But some Christians, even Christian leaders, a very small handful of Christian leaders have come out to deny what is happening. Very, very minute number. Even both the leaders and their and Christians in general. And many of them you find in the western part of the country. And many of them you find in the corridor of power in this country. So keep that in mind. So many of the so-called Christians that are denying this are working for the government, affiliated with the government, trying to curry favor with the government, or are just being tribalistic and trying to defend a president from their tribe.
My friend was kidnapped by these people. Listen, my friend was kidnapped by these people, and they requested for 5 million. And people ran around to put the 5 million together and gave to them. They still shot him in the head and killed him. A young father of 2 children. But you know what they normally do? They gather people together, they locate all the Muslims in their midst, and usually, most times, 90% of those who say they are Muslims among the people they kidnap, they set them free. And they
this thing he's saying is not a lie. It is the truth. Although you will not get official reports about this, or you will not often get official reports about this, but it is the truth. When they kidnap these people and you hear that some Muslims were also kidnapped, the first people to be released will be these Muslims. In fact, some of them get released without paying anything. They release them, just go. You are not the people we are looking for. And then they hold the Christians and kill them. It is the truth. This thing is targeted against Christians. And it's so unfortunate that people are lying about it. It's heartbreaking to see those who lie about this.
shoot the Christians in the head, butcher them, kill them. If they are pregnant women, they remove the babies from their womb.
Yes.
Then somebody who wants political relevance, somebody who is looking for appointment, comes out to say nothing is happening to the Christians in Nigeria. It's not a genocide. And he says, I am a Christian. And we think that we are all together. We are not all together. You have to have a stand. In quote, the number one nation of the world says, the leader of the number one nation of the world says that Nigeria is a disgraced country. Listen to me. Is it now the disgrace started? Pastor, why are you talking like this? I want you to take that mandate more seriously. Trump has come to say that Nigeria is a disgraced nation. I'm very embarrassed by that statement that Nigeria is a disgraced nation. But that's the truth. You know, many of us don't like the truth. We don't like hearing the truth. And I've heard different people react in different ways. The question is, some of the reactions that have been coming forth, I'm going to make another point now. Some of the reactions that have been coming forth, when I listen to them, it appears like I don't understand English anymore. A man is standing out to say that he wants to defend the Christians in Nigeria. Ladies and gentlemen, I still hear English very well. He did not say he wants to invade Nigeria. He said the level of killing of Christians in Nigeria is unbearable. And if our leadership does not do anything about it, they will take action. What else is he supposed to say? So if you are against that, it means you are in support of the killing of Christians in Nigeria.
Simple.
Period. There are no two interpretations to that.
Exactly.
If you are against what I have just said now, it means you are in support of the killing of Christians in Nigeria.
True.
Somebody said if America tries it and invades Nigeria, he will make sure that all the American army that come here will die. Do you think they will come here with gun? Or do you think that America is still using MK-47? Have you ever watched the weapons they carry? Have you ever seen any in the past 10 years? Have you ever seen MK-47 in their weapon? The MK-47 that is panicking Nigerian army and whatever here. They have.
He said the militants are using AK-47. And do you think that's what the US Army use? You think they use AK-47s? Have you seen what they use? Does it look like AK-47? AK-47 that is making the Nigerian military to run away. That AK-47 that is enough to defeat the Nigerian military. You think that's what the US is using?
Left that level since. And some people say, okay, they are coming because of our minerals. Do we have more oil well than America? Why am I saying this? I want you to have a stand. Now, this is the point I'm trying to make. I know that when certain person they watch this online, they will say, Pastor, is this what we should be discussing in church? Yes, this is what we should be discussing in church. I am not a part of those who don't know what is right and what is wrong. I am not a part of those who will keep quiet when the church is being burnt. I'm not a part of those who will keep quiet. Even if you are 1 million or one person here, I will act as a child of God. I am not pastoring aliens. I am not pastoring Juju people. I am pastoring Christians. And it has been confirmed that there's genocide in Nigeria and people are trying to cover it and beat around the bush. This has been happening for over 15 years. At least 10 years. Who are the people pushing this, the frontline people who push this thing that there's no genocide? Everything is okay with the church in Nigeria. Christians, in quotes, supposed Christians are brothers and sisters. If somebody says something now that this government is very useless, this government is not good, and tomorrow the same person is saying that the government is perfect, it's a fruit that you need to look at. The Bible says that we should take heed what we hear. Another translation says we should take heed how we hear. Whether it is Muslims or it is Christians that are being killed, the fact is that human beings are being killed. And we know that this thing is targeted at Christians. And those of us who are Christians, if we keep quiet, then we are siding and aligning with the forces of darkness.
Yes, if you're a believer and you see what is happening in the country and you keep quiet, you're being complicit. That is the truth. There is no other way to interpret it. You're being complicit, and you are not being a true believer. You're not a true believer. You're not being a good believer. You're not being good to your fellow Christian brothers. Yes, you should pray about it. 100%. The first thing you should do about it is pray. Pray about it. Let it always be in your prayers. Another thing you should do is, in your little way, talk about it. Talk about it. Now we have the internet. It is easy to talk about it. Talk about it.
I'd like you to know that it took people to raise this matter up before it got to Donald Trump. So when we keep quiet, our silence becomes a conspiracy. Do you know how many Christians have been killed in this country? Is it because they hide these things?
Yes, that is another thing you need to know. Many of the figures, many of the attacks are being hidden, covered up. The ones we hear about are the ones that are reported. Many of them are not reported at all. There's something I saw from someone. I could not report it because I could not confirm it. She said today that they are still attacking people in Benue State. Today, that's what she said on her tweet. That today they are currently still attacking people in Benue State. But we are not hearing about it because the government have informed every media house to stop reporting about it. In fact, I'm going to show you so many news reports on certain places in this country that did not make it to the news. It's just a private individual who is reporting it from his Twitter handle. But many of them are not making the news in Nigerian local media outlets. We're not hearing about it. They're trying to reduce it. So even the ones you hear are the ones that, okay, we can no longer hide this one. Let's talk about it. But many of the attacks are not even being spoken about. Unspoken attack that are taking place in this country.
If you're a member of this church, don't say we should not be involved, we should not speak about it. We have to. It concerns us, it concerns the body of Christ. How will you speak? Are you going to go to NTA? No. In your own little way, in your own little space, align in support of the church. What was the reason why many of our people refused to support Donald Trump? Don't forget, I don't say he's a practicing Christian. I don't know his faith personally. But I know what he stands for, his policies. And most of the friends that I have, when I talk to them, I say, they always talk about papers, green card, paper, green card, becoming a citizen of America. If a devil is there, that America, you will run out of it.
I like that ending. Anyways, before we move forward, please, let me acknowledge the people who put their money where my mouth is. My real fans. I want to acknowledge Isaiah True One. He said, I am living abroad and it saddens me that we would ignore the fact of the killing of my fellow Nigerians. I would definitely like to call in or be a guest. Be blessed. Okay, when that happens, when I hold one of those, I will publicize it ahead of time so you can see it. And when I hold the live calling, I'll look forward to your call. And then we have from BA with the 199 super chat. It said, Frank, that a Deboye prayer walk was under Buhari. It was? It was? Let me be sure. Oh, it's true. Wow, I stand corrected then. I stand 100. I thought it was under Jonathan. I stand corrected. BA, I stand 100% corrected. Yes, you are right. It happened under Buhari. It didn't happen under Jonathan. But I think he also held a protest under Jonathan, if I'm not mistaken. Wow, if that was the case, then, man, I stand corrected. Adeboye has done a wonderful job in calling out the administration. If he did that under Buhari, you know what? I stand corrected. I stand 100% corrected. It's not even if. He actually did. I just looked it up now, and it is true. He actually did. I stand corrected. Thank you for correcting me. I apologize for saying he did it under Jonathan. He actually did it under Buhari. I stand corrected. I stand 100% corrected. Thank you for correcting me. Thank you for correcting me. Okay, so the next thing we are going to talk about, like I said, is the organizations, the Nigerian organizations, Christian organizations that have come out in support of Donald Trump. Northern Hausa Christians write Tinubu Fagbemi alleging persecution, denial of appointments. Arewa Christian and Indigenous Pastors Association, ACIPA, has claimed that despite government's denial of persecution and systematic genocide against Christians, there are evidence that Northern and Hausa Christians in particular have been and are still being denied rights of employment, scholarships, and appointments. The pastors said this is an open letter to President Bola Tinubu and the Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice, Lateef Fagbemi, SAN. The ACIPA, in its letter, said that despite government's denial of genocide against Christians, there is a systematic support of persecution against them in the North. They alleged that it described an outright persecution against Christians from the Northeast, who came first, scoring 83% in the recent concluded interview for the appointment of permanent secretaries. In the usual perpetration of denial of right and persecution of Nigerian Christians and indigenous people experienced in states like Jigawa, Kano, Zamfara, Katsina, Bauchi, Borno, Yobe, Sokoto, Kebbi, and at the federal level, someone who scored 54%, emerged the fifth position, was announced as permanent secretary by the office of the head of service of the Federation on 4th December 2025. Essentially, what they are saying here is that someone applied for a job, a Christian, and he scored 83% in the job interview or the exam that they had to write for the job. Why instead of and it was not appointed? Yes, somebody who scored 54% was appointed. The group, in a statement signed by Dr. Luke Shehu, the chairman, said, "We are aware of the ongoing process to swear in a man who finished fifth as the permanent secretary instead of the qualified Christian. Once again, true to our calling as advocate of peace, unity, social justice, and development, we are not only renouncing and rejecting the travesty and persecution, we are calling on all concerned to correct this abnormality and travesty with immediate effect." The ICIAP said it was calling on all advocates against persecution and travesty to rise to the occasion and call authorities to order against the persecution of Christians in the North. The travesty has almost become a norm. This is no longer acceptable, the group said. So this is from the group, the ACIAP. Then we have another report from who is this from? This is not it. Sorry. This is not. Let me see this one before I. Okay, this is the one that I want to read. This is from PFN, Pentecostal something of Nigeria. There is Christian genocide. Cooperate with Trump. PFN president tells Tinubu. The president of the Pentecostal Fellowship of Nigeria, PFN, Bishop Francis Wale Oke, on Friday said it is undeniable that the Christian genocide is ongoing in Nigeria, urging President Bola Ahmed Tinubu to partner with President Trump of the United States in addressing the cancer and scourge of killings and attacks on Christian communities. It would be recalled that Trump had designated Nigeria as a country of particular concern, blah, 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 blah. Oke's remark came amid heightened national and international scrutiny of Nigeria's security situation, particularly the recurrent attack on Christian communities in the northern and central region of the country. While addressing journalists in Ibadan, the Oyo state capital, Wale Oke said it was not debatable that there is there was genocide against Christians in the country, listing killings such as that of Deborah Yakubu Samuel, as well as the adoption of Leah Sharibu, the Chibok girls, and attacks in Benue, Taraba, Southern Kaduna, Owo in Ondo State, Niger, and Plateau State. The cleric asserted that hundreds of Christians and pastors have been massacred. The PFN president said there is Christian genocide in Nigeria. There is no other name to call it. No Christian group is attacking Muslims. Patience of the church is being stretched. He clarified that the violence is perpetrated by radical groups such as Boko Haram, ISWAP, and their splinter factions who profess Islam during the onslaught, and not by the Muslim community at large. OK expressed appreciation to Trump for raising concerns over the plight of Christians, but urged against any invasion, stressing that cooperation with the Nigerian government is the preferred solution. Well, how do you cooperate with people who are not willing to deal with the problem and who would rather, engage in diplomacy and propaganda than actually deal with what is going on to Christians in their community? President Tinubu should ask for the cooperation of President Trump instead of opposing him. The president should root out radical groups like Boko Haram and ISWAP, work together so Nigerians can live in peace, he said. The PFN leader also stressed the constitutional duty of the federal government to protect all citizens, noting that while the current administration inherited the security challenges, decisive action is urgently needed. They inherited it, but they also created it. They also exploited it. They are also parts of it. All this, we inherited the problem, is not a talking point at this point. I think it should be abandoned. Government should stand up and not play politics with it. President Tinubu and the federal government need to cooperate with Trump to deal with this cancer. Okay, added. Meanwhile, President Tinubu is currently meeting with religious leaders concerning the threat from Trump to carry out military action in Nigeria against terrorists. So that is from PFN. That is from PFN. And then we have this one from Can Rep. This is the... Okay. This is a statement from the Can representative of Northern Nigeria and Abuja. So this is Can Northern Nigeria and Abuja chapter. So this is their president, I believe, and he was on the news, and this is what he had to say.
As the representative of CAN, I'm going to put the same question to you. When you hear the term or the allegation of Christian genocide from the United States, President Trump, Ted Cruz, etc., what were your thoughts? And indeed, do you agree with them?
Because you are running out of time, I will save you and just go to the basic. One, I've listened to the other speakers. I've listened to the arguments they bring. I am not speaking from research or whatever. I'm speaking as a victim. Mm-hmm. I'm speaking as the pastor who buried the almost 2,000 people in 2000 in Kaduna. Quote me, my name is Reverend Hayab. I'm speaking as the pastor who also did the mass burial of the over 300 people of the Miss World Beauty pageant on the 23rd of November 2002. I'm also the pastor who came out publicly to denounce the Danish cartoon in 2006, but it later leads to the death of Christians in Maiduguri and death of Christians in Bauchi. So I have been around and I think I know this story. Listening, we are coining it into the politics of America as if we are not in Nigeria. And someone is saying that athletic was used. Sincerely speaking, there has been killings of Christians in northern Nigeria before even the advent of Boko Haram.
God will bless you. God will bless you. And I think this needs to be said again and again and again and again. There have been killing of Christians in northern Nigeria even before 2009. I have so many stories to tell. I mean, the Danish cartoon. Some people don't know this. Like, I think I talked about this in the last live stream. The Danish cartoonist issue where they drew or they made a cartoon of Muhammad, And there was a protest in Nigeria about it. And the protest led to the killing of Christians. What is happening in Denmark? What has that to do with what is happening in Nigeria? Why do you have to kill Christians in Nigeria in response to somebody in Denmark drawing a cartoon of Muhammad? But that happened. That happened in this country, and that was before Boko Haram. During the Miss World pageantry, we talked about it in one of our live streams. There was also killing of Christians. What has that to do with killing Christians? Just a Miss World pageantry, and because you don't agree with it and you don't agree with what someone had to say about it, you went on a killing spree, killing Christians. In 2000, you have 2000 in the year 2000, you had over 2,000 Christians killed in northern Nigeria in one of these other incidents. This was happening way before Boko Haram. This issue of persecution of Christians and targeting of Christians to be killed and brutally massacred has been happening in northern Nigeria for a very long time, before we even heard about Boko Haram. That is the truth.
There has been killings of Christians in northern Nigeria before even the advent of Boko Haram. I was in Kano. I just left Kano with 1 week, and the killing of the visit of Rehabonke happened. People were caught. You know, it's a different thing that you are shot to death. It's something else that you are caught to pieces, caught by the neck, caught hacked to death. I saw these cops. I had to run back. My pastor asked me, "Why did you come back?" I said, "No, I just left for Kaduna 1 week, and then I heard what happened to my people in places in Kano. I just came back." So it is something that has...
Sorry, sir, if I may interrupt you. What year are we talking about?
I'm taking you back.
Okay.
To tell you that I was available when the Bonke crisis happened in Kano. I was also...
You may not understand what is happening. Rehad Bonke, many of you may know of Rehad Bonke, the world-renowned evangelist who is late now. When Rehad Bonke came to Kano, there were killings of Christians in response to Rehad Bonke coming to Kano State to preach the gospel.
They are not only there, but buried the mass people that were buried in 2000. I also buried the mass people that were buried in 2002. Then fast forward to 2006, I said I was the pastor who first came out to condemn the Danish cartoon because I knew what was going to follow. But despite that effort, Christians were killed in Maiduguri. Christians were killed in Bauchi for an offense they had no problem about. They knew nothing about.
They had no idea. Many of them didn't even know there was something happening in Denmark. Many of them didn't even know what was happening in them, and yet they were killed for something they had no idea about.
What happened in 2002? Many Christians in northern Nigeria, including Kaduna, don't even know the lady who wrote the article.
Exactly.
But they ended up having their churches burned. They ended up having their pastors killed. They ended up having, precisely the Sunday before that violence, I had a guest preacher in my church, Reverend Nee preached in my church at Rahama English Baptist Church. You can Google it. I remember when you could Google that. And just a day after that, that man was burnt. His corpse was like that of a small baby. So when you put together all this, in Maiduguri in 2009, when Boko Haram started, they were never attacking Muslims.
God will bless you, sir. God will bless you. He said in 2009, when Boko Haram started, they were never attacking Muslims.
They actually went for the church because they said we are infidel. One among the early pastors that was killed was Pastor Oji. Pastor Oji was killed. When he saw he was going to die, he simply said, "Go and tell my brothers I die well." Pastor Osonibon was also Sylvester Osonibon, because I traveled with the corpse to Ekot Ipene, and then Pastor Yakubu Bitrus, whose brother was then the medical director of the General Hospital in Maiduguri. So I got involved in these things more than the hair story. The Christian North have suffered killing. The Christian North have suffered so much in this thing that today culminates into genocide, as it has been called. So for anybody to say it does not exist and is bringing story of Boko Haram or recent happenings of bandits may not understand, because I followed the conversation. Nobody is saying that the Christian North was just killed in 2002 or they were just killed in 2019. There has been a history. There has been certain pattern. There has been certain developments. But let me come back to the last 6 years. I am this same pastor who came out severally on this medium and other medium to cry when I was bearing 30, 20, 40, and many other numbers. And why were those people killed? The story they always want to tell us that no, it is a farmer's herders. I'm above 56. I know the difference between a farmer's and herders conflict, and I know the difference between someone coming to exterminate or eliminate a certain group of people. Because farmers, as we knew, simply had little misunderstanding with herders, and the herders will come either to the police station or to the traditional ruler or community leader, and such issue will be discussed, and they will now ask for reconciliation and possibly ask for little payment of damages. But we have a situation where innocent women are sleeping in their sleep with their children, with their husband, and people will come to their community, chant religious slogans, set their houses ablaze, shoot them and cut off their necks, and do not stop there, also burn their religious places. And you still want me to say, no, it is just a communal clash, because that's the kind of farmers had that clashes. And that's why today we are hiding under those things to argue about that. I looked at the issue of statistics and I just wonder, if you sit there, just Google, you will see in the Wikipedia, the number of churches that document is giving you that the churches in Nigeria are just 16,000 something. And you and I know that is not true. I am a pastor of the Baptist Church. The Nigerian Baptist Convention, just Nigerian Baptist Convention, we have over 11,200 registered churches. We never bring Redeem into it. You never bring Anglican into it. No Catholic into it. No Methodist.
Do you understand? He said just the Anglican Baptist Commission of Nigeria has lost over 11,000 churches. He said just the Baptist Church of Nigeria has lost over 11,000 churches. He said that if you Google it, you will hear that 16,000 or 19,000 churches have been burnt. But you know that is not true, because just his own church, Baptist Church of Nigeria, has lost over 11,000 church buildings. He said you've not even talked about the Redeemed Church of God. You've not talked about other denominations. You've not even talked about the Catholic Church. You've not talked about the Anglican Church. You've not talked about Ekwa, that is popular in the north. You've not talked about Kosin Church. You've not talked about many of these churches. That if you're just talking about his church alone, has lost 19,000 buildings. Church buildings. Because of this attack. In other words, he's telling you this is underreported. That if you look at the actual reporting of churches that have been destroyed, that it is more than 19,000 that is being quoted. That the 19,000 being quoted is under quotation. In fact, it is a ridiculous under quotation. Do you understand what you're like? I mean, imagine where somebody tells you, 19,000 houses have been burnt, and you're like, my own house, the number of just me, the houses that I own are like 11,000. Talk more of this guy and this other guy and this other guy, and you're telling me it's just 19,000. So it is underreported, heavily underreported.
That's why today we are hiding under those things to argue about that. I looked at the issue of statistics and I just wonder, if you sit there, just Google, you will see in the Wikipedia, the number of churches that document is giving you that the churches in Nigeria are just 16,000 something. And you and I know that is not true. I am a pastor of the Baptist Church. The Nigerian Baptist Convention, just Nigerian Baptist Convention, we have over 11,200 registered churches. We never bring Redeem into it. You never bring Anglican into it. No Catholic into it. No Methodist into it. No Living Faith into it. So some documents and figures that we have been seeing are quite interesting, but just tell us that there is even to us a conspiracy of silence or a conspiracy of twisting a situation. I see what is happening and as an opportunity for us to stop the killing of our fellow citizens just because of their identity.
And that is from the CAN chairman of Northern Nigeria and Abuja. And as you can see, he's just telling it like it is, telling us like it is. See, this is what is actually going on. And even the media reports that is showing what is happening is not even reporting it enough. Okay? So that is from him. And then we have a report from Yelwata. Now, many people don't know about Yelwata. It's a place where on Christmas Eve, over 300 people were killed by these so-called Fulani headsmen or Fulani headers, like they are called. But we know that these are Fulani terrorists. And so the traditional leader of Yellow-Water has come out in support of what Donald Trump has said and is welcoming it. Traditional ruler of Yellow-Water community in Benue State, Humaga Joe, had backed moves by United States President Donald Trump to end alleged Christian genocide in Nigeria. Daily Post reported that about 200 persons were massacred when suspected Fulani gunmen invaded Yellow-Water in June of 2025. Okay, this is not Jos. This is Yellow-Water. This happened this year in Benue State. Sorry, my bad. Joe welcomed Trump's U.S. military action threat. While speaking with journalists in Makurdi on Tuesday, he concurred with Trump that there is ongoing killing of Christians in Nigeria. According to him, the attack on his domain, as well as other attacks in Benue State, were carried out by Muslim terrorists. Joe appreciated the United States president for coming to the aid of Christians in Nigeria and urged him to expedite action. According to him, the situation remains dire as killings go on almost daily, with many villages sacked and occupied by the terrorists. He expressed sadness that original inhabitants are now taking refuge in internally displaced persons camp across Benue State. That's a statement from the traditional ruler of Yellow-Water. Yellow-Water was attacked this year, actually. Let's read the report of what happened in Yellow-Water this year. It was so tragic that even the Vatican had to make a statement about it that year. This is from 16 of June 2025. Daily Post has obtained a list of 127 people killed on Saturday. It's actually more than 200. Early morning attack on Yellow-Water, a community in Guma local government area of Benue State. Following the attack, the state government claimed that only 59 persons died, but that is a lie. However, when Daily Post visited the community on Monday, residents claimed that over 300 people were killed by the assailants. Franco Uto, a lawyer, politician, and native of Yellow-Water, who lost over 33 members of his extended family and more than 50 of his political supporters, told our reporters that they have been able to identify about 127 persons who lost their lives in the carnage from his immediate community, with a similar number from neighboring community who came to camp in the area. He listed the victims. Now, there are names of these victims. The victims of this attack are known. These are the ones that are being listed here, but there are many more names. Like a memorial was even erected for them. And over 300 were actually killed. But 127 has been named thus far, I believe. And that happened on June of this year, on the 12th of June, or I think it's the 12th of June, right? I think it's on the 12th of June or the 16th of June or 15th of June. Sometime in June, this attack took place. So, yep. And the traditional leader of that community have come in support of what in fact, he's in support of Donald Trump's military intervention. And he said it should be done quickly. It should be done quickly because this is still going on today in his community. And here is something that I saw on on Twitter that is important. Now, this is from StatiSense. And here is their report on kidnappings by region in Nigeria. So they gave you the number of, just this month that has happened, not this month, but in the month of August. So in the month of August, according to this group, StatiSense, kidnappings by zones in Nigeria. In the Northwest, we have over 200, in the Northwest, we have 250 cases of kidnappings. In the North Central, we have 145 cases of kidnappings. In the Northeast, you have 31 cases of kidnappings. In the Southwest, so this is from the North alone. These are the number of cases in the month of August. In the South, you had 11, 9, and 4. So in the South, is a total of 24. In the North, is a total of 395 plus 31. That is the number. It's almost over 400. Over 400 cases of kidnappings in just in the month of August. And this is not even, I don't think this is the total number of kidnappings that took place. I don't think this is an accurate report of what is happening in those regions, especially in the North. because I think it's more than that in the month of August. But if you are to go by this report, it shows you that in the north, you have serious, overwhelming cases compared to what you have in the south. Riley Moore has introduced a resolution in Congress about Nigeria, what is going on in Nigeria. You see, why you still have Nigerian government officials still, trying to be political about the whole thing. You can see that the US is really going forward with whatever they are planning to do. Even though I want them to go faster, move faster, move faster, move faster. That's kind of like my approach. Like, when is the next drone strike going to happen? Can it be next week? But here's from Riley Moore. I just introduced a resolution condemning the atrocities Christians are facing in Nigeria and supporting POTUS's effort to defend Christians who are being slaughtered. This is a first step to end the tragedy. We must acknowledge the horrific persecution that is occurring. It's the same thing I tell Nigerian government every time on this live stream. If you really want to deal with this issue, you have to accept the tragedy of what is happening in this country and call it what it is, instead of trying to obfuscate and debate over terminology. You have to accept it. Be honest. Honesty is the first step to solving a problem. Be honest about what the problem is actually. So he continues in the thread. Nigeria is the deadliest place in the world to be a Christian. 7,000 Christians have been killed this year. That's 35 murders each day. Between 50,000 to 100,000 Christians have been killed since 2009. 19,000 churches have been burnt, which we have been told is heavily underreported. Millions have been displaced. These attacks are not simply inter-community violence. They are deliberate campaign of religious cleansing. The attackers regularly target Christian holy days, such as on 2022 Pentecost massacre, and 2023 Christmas Eve massacre, and 2025 Holy Week attacks. Priests, pastors, and seminarians are routinely targeted for kidnapping and killings, and more than 250 clergy killed in the past decade. On Ash Wednesday of this year, Reverend Father Sylvester Okechukwu was kidnapped and brutally murdered. These are targeted killings of Christians by jihadists, not just general instability and violence. While members of other faiths are killed as well, when adjusted for population size in various states, Christians are killed at a rate more than 5 times higher than others. This is important to note. He's saying Christians are killed more than 5 times higher than others. That is a ratio of 5 to 1. For every Muslim that is being killed, 5 Christians are being killed in northern Nigeria. The Nigerian government have repeatedly failed to respond to attack or hold perpetrators accountable. In fact, when they catch the perpetrators, instead of persecuting them and dealing with them, delivering justice against them, they get to rehabilitate these perpetrators and reintegrate them into society. Last month, a pastor in Plateau State warned of an impending Fulani attack. The Nigerian army accused him of spreading false news, and more than a dozen Christians were killed the next day. This happened, in fact, in less than 24 hours. So a pastor in Plateau State warned that the Fulani headers are going to, or the Fulani terrorists are planning to attack his community. He warned that this was about to happen. And the Nigerian military, the Nigerian army on Twitter said that this pastor is spreading false news and fake news and is trying to, alarm the international community and spread, propaganda and all whatnot. That is what the Nigerian army said. And then in less than 24 hours, there was an attack in that very community that the pastor warned the attack was going to take place. So you can see this is the thing that I keep saying to these Nigerian leaders. You cannot lie about this anymore. The truth is so obvious that you have to be blind to not see it. President Tinubu has denied the nature of this crisis, saying as recent as September of this year that there is no religious persecution in Nigeria. He now has an opportunity to deepen and strengthen Nigeria's relationship with the United States, and more importantly, do the right thing. As Potu said, Christianity is facing an existential threat in Nigeria, and the United States cannot stand by while such atrocities are happening there. His bold decision to redesignate Nigeria as a country of particular concern is a huge step to ending the slaughter. I am grateful to 20 of my colleagues who joined me in introducing the resolution, including, he mentioned people who are in support. I'm also grateful to more than 55 outside organizations that have endorsed this resolution, including, and then he mentioned them. As I said at CPAC, as I said at CPAC, as I said at CPAC's Ending Christian Persecution Summit, I will never stay silent as our brothers and sisters in Christ are slaughtered for their faith. The U.S. will consider every option to protect vulnerable Christians from slaughter. Now is the time to put on the full armor of God to stand for our brothers and sisters in Christ. And to read more on my resolution, here is a link. So let's see more of what he's talking about and see if there's anything new that he didn't mention in that thread. Let me see. We saw that. Okay, so the resolution calls upon the United States government to use all available diplomatic, economic, and security Resolution calls upon the United States government to use all available diplomatic, economic, and security tools to pressure the Nigerian government into also working to return internally displaced persons to their homeland, particularly among Christian communities, and repeal blasphemy law and release all prisoners detained for their faith. It also encouraged coordination with international partners to deliver humanitarian aid directly to victims through trusted non-governmental and faith-based organizations, and affirm the commitment of the United States to stand in solidarity with Christians and to defend their right to practice their faith without fear of persecution, violence, and even death. So that is what the resolution is seeking to achieve. And then I think there is nothing more to add to this. So that's from Riley Moore, who has really been vocal about this. Really, like we say in Nigeria, he has carried the thing on his head. He has carried it on his head, and is really, and that is welcomed. I welcome it. I endorse it. I am 100% in support of it. And I stated earlier that President Tinubu had in 2021 or in 2020 called on the United States, I think in 2021, called on the United States to help Nigeria militarily. Now everybody's like, oh, don't interfere. Even back then, Buhari rather could see that there was a problem that the Nigerian military didn't have the capacity to deal with. Keep in mind that he's from the north, he's from Katsina. And Katsina State has been under serious attack by these bandits and also by Boko Haram and other terrorist groups in Nigeria. And this headline, this is from 2021, said, bring American soldiers to help tackle Nigeria's insecurity. Buhari begs United States. President Muhammadu Buhari on Tuesday urged the United States to consider relocating U.S. African Command, that is AFRICOM, from Germany to Africa, nearer the theater of operation, admonishing the international community to support Nigeria and the sub-region in tackling growing insecurity challenges to avoid spillover. President Buhari, in a virtual meeting with the United States Secretary of State Anthony Blinken, said AFRICOM, which partners with countries to counter transactional threats, should be relocated to Africa to strengthen ongoing effort to check the security situation with likely effect on other nations. The security challenge in Nigeria remains of great concern to us and impacts more negatively by existing complex negative pressure in the Sahel, Central and West Africa, as well as the Lake Chad region. Compounded as the situation remains, Nigeria and her security forces remain resolutely committed to containing them and addressing their root causes. Oh, please. But anyway, that is Buhari in 2021. Asking for military assistance. But now all of that is like, we don't want that. Now we are going to, by way of closing, just highlight, before we close. I've always wanted to do this, but I don't know. I keep on not having the opportunity to do so. Maybe I will do that in one live stream where I will just take out time to just talk about the attacks that have happened in the past and various stories from different people telling the stories of what happened and how it happened in their community. Maybe we'll have one live stream where it's just us telling stories of various people and their experience with this genocide that is happening in Nigeria. So that you can see from people, not just from numbers and statistics and all whatnot, but to see people on the ground tell us what is exactly happening or what has happened and how what they have seen happen. You know, there are many stories that need to be told, many stories that need to be publicized so that the world can see exactly what is going on. I've wanted to, find a live stream where I can talk about it. I wanted to talk about it in the past live stream. We didn't have enough time for that. And now we are also running out of time. Well, by way of closing, I'm just going to highlight recent attacks that has taken place in Nigeria. And we are going to do it rapid fire, okay? We're going to do it rapid fire. Just pointing them out one after the other, reading them, and then going to the next one, just so you can know what is happening in the country. Recent attacks. These are attacks from like 3 days ago. All these attacks we are going to look at are attacks that happened this week. Okay? The attacks that happened this week. That's all the attacks we are going to be looking at happened this week. Okay? And we have like 5 of them. Before we get into them, please, guys, keep smashing that like button, especially the one in the live chat, okay? Keep the smashing going on, okay? Let us have, and like the video itself as well. Let us have like 200 likes, ladies and gentlemen, or 400, or as many likes as possible, so that, the algorithm will keep showing this to as many people as possible, because the world needs to hear this. That is one major contribution you can make. Like this video, like it, like actually like the live stream, not just the one in not just putting up this one that I'm clicking on now that is floating in the air, but just, like the actual video. And also, send in support. You can support us. You can always go the extra mile, putting your money where my mouth is, because that's where it's supposed to be. Or essentially just supporting the channel, okay? Your support really goes a long way. It really goes a very, very long way. All right? So please send in that support. Send in that support, as many as possible. Keep sending them, okay? Super chats are always welcomed. Okay, that's why I go live. It's not really to bring you information, it's to collect your money. It's not true, but if that is going to make you to support, please go ahead and support. But it's not true. Anyways, and also you can go to buy me a coffee. You can see the link over here. My hand is there, holding it very well. You can support the channel by going to buymeacoffee.com/NIG Perspective and giving us your support. It will go a long way. We really appreciate that. Every support we need, as many as possible. Our arms are opened, okay? So please, do all the needful. Send us money. Do everything. We appreciate all of that. It keeps us doing what we are doing. If you don't send money, one day you will not see me again. Many people, whenever they don't see me, they wonder if I've been kidnapped or if they have finally gotten to me. No. The only thing that did not get to me is your money, and that's why I stopped. You don't want me to keep talking about these things, and if you enjoy this, please, it helps that you support us financially. I'm telling you, it does help 100%. And when you do that, we are very, very, very grateful. All right. So here's just rapid news about what is happening in the country. So we have from Katsina. We have many from Katsina. So Katsina communities speak out on ongoing attack despite peace claims. Residents of Bakori local government area of Katsina State says the widely publicized peace deal with bandit groups have brought little real safety. Roadblocks remain. Kidnappings for ransom continue, and many communities are still forced to pay taxes on their farmland to harvest. People kidnapped before the peace parley are still being held, with some families paying ransom without seeing their loved ones released. Farmers say they can no longer safely harvest their crop. In Guga axis, bandits recently chased farmers from the field and took away 6 bags of harvested soya beans. Many residents say they feel abandoned, unprotected, and insisting what? You should have completed this now. You didn't complete the report. So this is from Katsina State. Despite in Katsina State, the local government authorities have talked about how they are using peace deals to deal with the situation, how they are negotiating with these bandits, and that it is yielding, good fruit. We saw in the last live stream where they are saying that, you cannot bomb your way to peace. It comes through dialogue, and how they are using this dialogue and how the dialogue is not working, essentially. That is what these people are telling us. The dialogue is not working. Recently, people were chased from their farmland by bandits and their harvests were stolen. That is the report we are getting from Katsina. Then here is another report, still from Katsina. Yesterday afternoon, chairman of Futwa local government area paid a visit to armed groups who have been involved in bandit activity, presenting it as a peace initiative. This public engagement with bandits sends a dangerous message and undermines the ongoing fight against insecurity in Katsina. I call on, this person also calls on the government to do something. Now you can see pictures of the local government chairman meeting with these armed bandits who are holding AK-47 rifles. You can see this is them, and he's proudly taking pictures with them. It's so interesting. Like, where these bandits are, but yet the Nigerian army cannot do anything to eliminate them if you cannot apprehend them and prosecute them. None of that is happening. Instead, you have the local government chairman going to have peace agreements with them, peace meetings with them. And after the peace meetings, we see that nothing happens. In addition to that, we have news reports of killings in the same Katsina. This afternoon, bandits blocked Kontagora Banji Way across this place, in this community, in this local government area of Niger State. They set 2 vehicles ablaze and kidnapped multiple travelers. It is deeply concerning how bandit activities have continued to escalate across the Niger North Senatorial District, resulting in increased insecurity, loss of lives, and widespread fear among residents. This is a report coming in. As you can see, all of that is this week. This is happening this week. We have this news story from Parallel Facts. Video: terrorists open fire on evangelist team bus in Kwara. Passengers injured. So this one, you can see, this is clearly targeted against Christians. And we know in Kwara, the terrorist group that is active there is ISWAP. ISWAP have said that they are active in Kwara State. What we are hearing is that gunmen suspected to be terrorists on Friday evening opened fire on a bus belonging to the National Congress of Evangelization, Operation Good News in Oyo State, sparking panic in the area. Reports said, okay, this is not from Kwara State, but Oyo is close to Kwara. Okay, but it happened in Kwara State. The organization is from Oyo State, moving to Kwara State, and they were attacked in Kwara State. Reports said that the incident occurred along the Aruku-Oboile axis in the Ekiti local government area of Kwara State. According to the source, the bandits suddenly emerged from both sides of the road and began shooting indiscriminately at the bus. One of the passengers was hit by a bullet, but the driver managed to speed away from the scene, narrowly escaping what could have been a major tragic attack. The injured passenger was reportedly rushed to a nearby cottage hospital for medical treatment. Residents said that the Aruku-Yaba axis have become a hotspot for frequent terrorist attacks and kidnappings. Both Aruku and Yaba border Kwara State and have witnessed a series of violence incidents in recent months. The attack comes amid rising insecurity in Kwara State and is part of killings targeting Christians in rural communities. The latest incident underscores growing concerns over the safety of religious groups and residents in areas frequently affected by terrorism and kidnappings. And here is a video of the bus. Let's see if we can play that. Hopefully it doesn't have... This is the bus. And you can see the bullets that were shot. Try to deflate them so that people will not be able to move. But luckily they were not successful. You can see shots on the headlight. And then you can see other shots. And the goal, of course, was to, deflate the tires so that they could get the bus to stop and effectively massacre those who are in the bus, knowing that this bus is carrying Christian evangelists, people who are on evangelism mission. That is the goal. So that is another news report happening. And then let's see if this one is one that I have not talked about. I think it is one that I have talked about, but let me be sure. Okay, yesterday night, bandits loyal to Bello Tuji stormed Bagaja village in Isa local government area of Sokoto state, leaving several people dead. One person was seriously injured and at least 10 residents, mostly young women, were kidnapped. This latest assault shows the continued threat of bandit violence across northwest Nigeria, where communities often face raid with little warning or protection. Residents are urging authorities to intensify security patrol and rescue efforts for the kidnapped victims. And this is just happening recently. And then we have a report from Sahara Reporters. Bandits killed 2 community leaders in Katsina, abducting several residents despite peace deal. 2 community leaders were killed and several residents kidnapped on Thursday when bandits attacked this area, a farming community near Guga. I think we've talked about this when we looked at that tweet that spoke about it, but here it is being reported by a media outlet in Nigeria. Community leader Mahadi Guya said they were killed in cold blood. Daily Trust report. Residents said the attackers arrived on motorcycles, parked them in the bush, and walked into the village to avoid being noticed. They operated in the village for over an hour, killing, looting, and kidnapping people without resistance. The residents said the attackers are believed to be loyalists of Idi Abusu Aiki and Kwashim Gwara, 2 bandit leaders operating in Bakori and nearby communities. I mean, these people are even known. They know who their leaders are. Why Dorawa was attacked, this place was simultaneously being raided with bandits rustling a number of animals. Similar incidents have occurred in Ganja, this place and these other places in recent weeks, with over 40 people kidnapped and several families displaced. As of filing this report, neither the Katsina State government nor the Bakori Local Government Council have issued a statement on the latest killing. In the second week of October, Bakori, along with this other area, entered a peace accord with bandits to reduce attacks, killings, and kidnaps. And as you can see, those peace deals have not been honored and has led to nothing. But of course, we need to still remember that peace deals and dialogue is the way forward. Okay, is the way forward. Anything other than that is to lead to endless violence, of course. That is what they want us to know. As you can see, the Nigerian government is on top of the situation and they are doing everything possible to apprehend these bandits and bring lasting peace to the North and the Middle Belt region of Nigeria. This shows you that they are really, really interested in bringing peace, and that they don't need the US to intervene, just to send them more ammunition. That's all they need. Just refill their guns with more bullets. That's all that is needed, of course. Before we proceed, let me acknowledge Happy Mac. Happy Max, thank you for the $4.99 super chat. He said not enough to roll in, but still good. Thank you. I really appreciate that. And yep. So thank you all for watching this. And the usual way I end it. This is Sunday morning in Nigeria. This is 52 minutes into a new day. And I hope you guys go to church tomorrow, okay? Or today, depending on where you are in the world. I hope you go to church this Sunday. And I hope you have time to fellowship with the brethren, and have time to worship, and have time to talk with the Lord, and have time to, hear the word of God and to do everything needful, to commune with the brethren. And also have time to remember while you are in church, and even while the Sunday is, unfolding, have time to remember those who are being persecuted for their faith in various parts of the world, including Nigeria. Have time to remember them, bring them to God in your prayers, and allow God to do what He alone can do. But, the first step towards that is praying about it. One way God works is through our prayers. So we should always remember persecuted Christians in our prayers, that God will comfort their relatives, God will grant them deliverance, and God will strengthen them and keep them going. They need our prayers, and we need to pray for them constantly. We need to pray for these people constantly. pray and pray again for these people. If that is the only thing you pray about, you've done extremely well. Pray for them. And also have time to fellowship with other believers and to strengthen one another in the faith. And yes, please go to church this Sunday. Don't skip Sunday. Okay? People in IDP camps are attending church service. What is your excuse? Go to church this Sunday. Okay? And you will be blessed. God will meet you in that service. Go. You will meet God. He will meet you. He said if you draw near to him, he will draw near to you. If you run to him, he will run to you. Okay? If you come to him, he will come to you. He will meet you. God is not far from you. Okay? He is not far. He is close to you, closer than you think. So go to church this Sunday, and God will bless you tremendously. And if you have not given your life to Jesus Christ, this is another opportunity. Come to Christ. He wants to have a relationship with you. He wants to give you joy, peace, and righteousness. He wants to transform your life. He wants to save you from the judgment that is to come. He wants to deliver you. Come to him and you will experience deliverance. You will experience salvation. You will experience what it's like to be at peace with God. It's a feeling that is beyond this world. It's a feeling, it's a peace, it's a joy, it's a confidence, it's tranquility that the world cannot afford. It's something that is out of this world. It is remarkable. And it can only be found in Jesus Christ. Come to him and he will save you. He will make you whole. He will transform your life. And that is my prayer, my constant, endless prayer for everyone who hears my voice. That as you hear it, you will come to Christ. As you hear it, you will be saved. As you hear it, Christ will the message of the gospel will have great effect and great impact in your life. And that's what I want for everyone that listens to me, above everything else. I pray that for you, and I hope you make that decision today. Somebody asked, Frank, asking if kidnapping means stealing, because I never heard of them giving anyone back. Well, they do sometimes, but many times it results in stealing those people, because many times they end up killing them. All right, guys, it's been fun, and I really appreciate every one of you. Those who sent in money, those who liked the video, those who commented, those who shared the link, those who did all the YouTube things. I appreciate every one of you. You guys are the best. I have the best audience. I have the best chat. I have the best everything. Okay, you guys are extremely the best. And we are going to grow higher and higher. We are growing together, okay? We are going to grow higher and higher. We're going to go from less than 100 viewers per live stream to 1,000, okay? We are going to get to 5,000. We are going to get to 100,000. We are going to get to significant numbers, okay? We are growing. We are making progress. We are just getting started. And I appreciate my day ones, because that's you guys. And I appreciate every one of you. God will continue to bless you and keep you. And until we see again, until we meet again, remain blessed. God bless you. Peace. I don't know what else to say. Peace.